let's do 3, 2, 1, go. All right.
Okay. You gonna
Ready?
say it?
Oh, I think we should say it together.
Okay, here we go.
Okay. Ready? Three,
Three,
two,
two,
one,
one,
go.
go.
Hi, I'm Reba,
And I'm Katie, and this is What About Bob's?
a podcast about friendship first,
Then movies.
and if we're lucky, a bob on top.
We have to do our cheer, remember? We have
Oh,
to
yeah.
come up with something.
Especially for this movie. We had a lot of
Especially for this
we
movie.
had a lot of cheerleaders. I don't know. They kind of come hand in hand with football players.
But first, how's things going over there?
We just had Thanksgiving break. It was nice. We like just went out to dinner here together and mostly stayed around. I didn't have to socialize or like see family. So it was kind of like a very low key but relaxing and easy.
Lovely.
I don't know. How was
That
yours?
sounds so lovely. It was good. It was also pretty mellow. The daylight savings is kind of kicking my ass lately. It's like pitch black at 5:30 and it
Yeah.
is rough. It's like when I get home from work, it's almost dark and that is real hard to wrap your head around. I was looking up today, like when does daylight savings end? This is so crazy and it's not until March.
Yeah.
But it was like all the stuff that came up were articles of like, is daylight savings actually harmful to your health? Scientists say yeah. Like
Yeah.
everything was like, it's actually killing us.
It's
It's like,
actually
why?
terrible.
I thought they were gonna get rid of it. I don't, what happened with that?
Yeah, I think there was like a I think it had to do like I think there was supposed to be a vote or something and then it didn't go get I don't know. It was
They just,
something like that. Something very annoying. Like it didn't
yeah,
get
everyone just
passed.
forgot.
Yeah. So we're still here, even though I
Anyway,
think everyone is like, why do we still have that? But
other than that though, we got a Christmas tree up. It's feeling holly jolly around here,
yes, I saw
which
your
is
Christmas
what
tree.
so funny that we're still watching our spooky season movies.
We're still in spooky season, extended cut. It's worth it.
Ooh.
I think it's fun. I think it's fun. I like it. And also I feel like I don't know. I feel like spooky season, every season has like scary movies.
Oh
I
yeah.
don't know. Do you know what I
Hmm.
mean? Like
Yes,
summer also feels like you want to watch like scary movies.
totally.
I do think winter is like where I'm drawn to more like cozy or familiar
For
movies.
sure. For sure. Little
But
Women
it's
among
still
them.
very much Little Women, Sleepless in Seattle,
Oh
the
my
Nora
God.
Ephron classics.
While you were sleeping, yes.
Hmm. But it's also like movie season where like new movies come out and
Hmm.
stuff. So, which have you
No,
seen Wicked yet, or have you seen any
we
box?
haven't seen Wicked yet. We did see Frankenstein, which I don't remember if we talked about this yet.
Briefly, you did mention you'd seen it right before we watched him.
Oh, sure. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes. Which I do think there are some parallels, but I really liked Frankenstein. That was very fun.
yeah,
That felt like
I
a
do want to see that one.
movie theater movie.
Yes, yeah,
And also I feel like a gothic horror feels very like Christmas time
yes,
to me.
yeah, yeah.
Like
Similarly to like
Nosferatu last
Nosferatu
year.
last year was
Hmm.
very Christmas time. Felt right.
Hmm.
Yeah. I want to
Um,
see that and I want to see Begonia. Those are the
yeah.
ones that are up on my like list of wanting
You
to
will have
see.
to tell me about Begonia because I am too creeped out to watch that.
I'll tell you about it. I'll do
I'm trying to find
a
my
too scary didn't watch for you.
yeah. Yeah, I feel like a Christmas time spooky movie is fun. And this felt like I don't remember when this came out. This felt like a summer
I think
spooky
it may have
movie.
I think it may have come out in October,
Okay.
but which October I think football feels fall
That's
to
true.
me.
No,
So
you're
I
right. I
think that,
did read something that it was like
yeah,
this came out during peak football
I think that
season.
makes sense. Yeah.
So yeah, so this episode is about the 2025 movie Him. Should we start?
Yeah, let's just start. Let's get
Let's
into
start
it.
it. Let's get
I feel
into
like
it. We
we're
have
like really
lots.
excited to talk about this one, so let's do it.
We are very excited. We have lots to say, lots of thoughts. I like that we both wore wore our collars
Or
for
like preppy
sports,
collars.
for
Yeah.
school. What is this? Yeah, our preppy collars. So Him came out this year. It's directed by Justin Tipping, who had directed one other thing, I think, from what I could find, called Kicks. That was like a short or something. He hasn't had any big
Mm-hmm.
films come out. Tyreek Withers plays Cameron Cade. Marlon Wayans plays Isaiah White. Julia Fox plays Elsie. We have a character named Marco, played by Jim Jeffries. And then a fun little What's He Doing Here by Tim Heidecker, the Tim and
Mm-hmm.
Eric Show. Playing a
That
character
was a
called Tom.
surprise. Mm-hmm.
That was a surprise. Um, this movie I thought was really fun. I really liked it. I feel like I wouldn't have had so much to say. However, I was startled to find when we finished it. We usually pull up Letterboxd after we
Mm-hmm.
finish something, like while we're still on the phone with each other. And people hated this movie.
Yeah.
And I was flabbergasted. I thought it was so fun. I had heard nothing before going in. Um, and I was so shocked. I was like, I mean, it wasn't perfect by any stretch, but like,
Yeah.
what? Where is this hate
Yeah.
coming from? So I
So
decided
that's
to
why we're
continue.
here.
That's why we're here.
We're here today to set the record straight. This is a great movie. So I had seen the trailer, and knew, and so I had been produced by Jordan Peele's production
Hmm.
company. So I feel like the trailer alone was super aesthetic, didn't tell me anything, which I love a trailer like that that's just like super cool aesthetic scenes and shots and just like gives you a tonal feel. And I'm like,
Hmm.
perfect, that sounds great. And then I've loved all the Jordan Peele movies, and so I
Hmm.
feel like I'm like, I don't know, trust it. I think it's because people don't want to take football seriously, but I don't know.
Yeah. I
I think
think,
that
yeah,
has
I
to do
think
with
that
some of it.
definitely has something to do with it. I think, yeah, it's like too much football for the horror crowd and too much horror and like heavy-handed metaphor for the
Yeah.
football crowd. I think it was just like
Yeah.
blending genres in a way that, I mean, I think everybody saw the trailer and was like, "Whoa, we haven't seen anything like this before." Um, which is again, I'm confused because I feel like the movie was like 90 minutes of this trailer. I feel like it was like it was exactly the same.
Yeah. The
Like,
tone was
well,
there.
how was
Yeah.
this different than what you thought you were getting?
Yeah.
But yeah, it was blending genres. It was taking a swing, which I thought was very cool. Um, and yeah, I
It was
think when
blending
you,
genres, but in a way that I'm like, it makes perfect sense that
yeah,
you'd have psychological body horror meets football, like a sports
hmm
genre, because it is in it, like when you really think about it, and they like display it so well, it's like
hmm
these men are like putting their bodies on the line and these absolute like violence happening to them.
hmm
It is body horror, like, but like
absolutely,
truly. So like, I think it's kind of brilliant to then be like, let's abstract it into this
totally.
like symbolistic horror film. I don't know.
Totally, but I think to that point too, it's like touching on which we were joking about this episode being a very nerve-wracking because I feel like this movie is touching on some very sensitive subjects.
Yeah. Yeah.
And some subjects that I feel like the core themes are things that people are really touchy about,
Sure.
whether it's warranted or unwarranted. Um, this movie has a lot to do with race. This movie has a lot to do
Mhm.
with masculinity. And this movie has a lot to do with religion. And that's like,
Yeah.
ooh.
Yes.
So I think a lot of people were very offended and like not even like because I didn't see any reviews that were like this is offensive, but I think people got so a lot I think a lot of white people that didn't like it maybe without realizing got their feelings a little hurt. Or it
Mm-hmm.
made them feel weird in a way that they didn't like.
Yeah.
Part of what I was going to go into when I get on my soapbox later is that white audiences are very particular about the ways in which they will accept feeling badly about their whiteness. And I think that this, again, we're blending genres, we're bending genres.
Yes.
I think this movie was not like serious enough for them to be like, oh, this is a serious movie about race, like this isn't like Remember the Titans. This isn't like,
Oh, sure.
like Green Book or whatever, where
Yeah.
they're like,
Yeah.
I know what this is. This is segregation, and we
I
don't do that
oh oh
anymore.
sure. I understand this. Yeah.
Right. I think it was like
Yeah.
kind of unclear whether it was about race at all if you're not looking critically. And then they're like, wait, I feel kind of weird about this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so a lot of people were like having some really weird takes, I feel on Letterboxd where and some really weird criticisms that I was like, this like someone was saying like, oh, like this metaphor, like, oh, football is evil, but what if football was like actually evil? Wouldn't that be crazy? I'm like, that's what all horror movies are doing. Like,
Yes.
I feel like horror movies are like the most this is a metaphor movies,
Yes.
right? Like
Yes.
it's always a metaphor.
Yes.
And like it's like the Babadook, like what if your suppressed grief was like actually a monster that
Was
lived in a
yeah,
closet with a
yeah.
top hat?
Yeah.
That's crazy. But like
Yeah.
everybody loved the Babadook. And it's I don't know. I'm like that how is that a valid criticism for
Right.
this?
That's
And
what
people were
horror
like, yeah,
movies,
stupid.
yeah. That's what horror movies, and I would go as far as to say that is what art is for, too,
Right.
is to abstract reality. And that's what this movie is doing. It's representing, interpreting it in this way where, like, oh, we can all be scared of this thing. Like, this can
Hmm.
scare all of us, even though, like, in our day to day, we're not interacting with the niche experience.
And it's like
Mm.
exploring, it's like the scary thing rather than like suppressed grief is like toxic masculinity and like, which I know has like become such a loaded thing, but it's like toxic masculinity, like actually toxic, satanic even.
Yeah,
And like
sure.
the weird, like nasty, like poisonous roots of racism in this country that are like it's beyond this is beyond like the Remember the Titans bus. Nobody wants to sit together. This is like
Yes.
the weird, like deep within
Yes.
like the fabric of our
Systematic.
country.
Hmm.
Um, and I feel like it's that stuff that's like so deep that I think a lot of people, and again, I'm going to speak for white audiences. I think there's a big portion of the white viewership of this movie that like was not looking through that lens at all when watching this movie. And I feel like there's so much to see and pick apart. And like we were joking, like this is such a rich text. Like
Hmm.
there's so
Hmm.
many little Easter eggs and like so much symbolism and imagery that we were like, this is crazy. Like everything is a symbol in every shot. And I
Yes.
feel like if if you're not taking it serious in that way, yeah, it falls a little flat. But on the other hand, I think, and we're getting like a little bit into my diatribe here, but I also think that bringing race into it at all, it's going to be judged differently and critiqued differently. And I think there will be people who are disappointed that it didn't like dive more into those racial
Hmm.
themes and have it be like overtly, more overtly those things. But then so it like misses for those people because they're like, well, it just didn't explore that enough. And then there are people that don't like that it's in there at all. And they're like, why are they making this about race? And so I feel like those were the two audiences that like didn't like this movie. And it
Yeah.
didn't like satisfy either of those
Yeah.
audiences.
I do think this movie has a lot to say. It has maybe a heavy-handed tone to it, but I
Mhm.
like think that everything it had to say, I think is important to I don't know. I am not sounding as eloquent as you, but I do think that like
I don't think I'm sounding
football
eloquent at all.
no, 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 you truly are. But football, I think like with like it kind of needs that context. I don't know, like
Totally.
it being the like the biggest American sport isn't just by happenstance. The reason why we've all at least once seen the Super Bowl, you know what I mean?
Totally.
Whether or not we like football isn't
Totally.
isn't just by happenstance. Like
Totally.
everyone is aware of this, you know. The more and more we learn about the head trauma and the CTE like
Hmm.
rates in this sport, people have feelings about it. People
Totally.
are second guessing putting their kids into football, and then it's like a whole industry. So it's like there's
Right.
actually so much beyond this like go sports of it. You know
Right.
what I mean? I watched some video about concussion avoidance in the NFL anyway because it's a business at the end of the day, and so they have to somehow sustain viewership. However long ago it's when doctors were starting to start studies on the concussion rates and the brain damage. They like the NFL had to contend with that eventually. They couldn't just
Hmm.
ignore it because everyone started to be like, "Well, I'm not going to put my kid in sports." And
Right.
like this what it like if people stop watching, people start participating, they don't have a business anymore. And so they literally had to start making changes. One option is like start making the helmets different. They've also like rewritten how they do certain plays that are more dangerous and caused the highest percentage of like concussions. And so it's like it's this incredibly violent, forceful sport, but we love it. So, you know what I
Right.
mean? Like we
It's
as
making
in
a
the
lot of
general
people a lot of
public.
money. Like
Yeah.
there's so much to talk about with this movie, and I feel like we watched this movie for the first time like a week ago, and I've been talking about this movie nonstop since then. Like there's so much to talk about, and I feel like with everything you're saying with like there's ways to adapt it to make it less harmful to people, but like we don't want to do that. And like flag football, like that's not the same. And it's like I
Yeah.
I do feel like so much of why deep down why football fans like don't want to make those changes is because those changes are seen as like emasculating it at the end of the day. Like
Yeah.
you're making it look more sissy or like this is the way girls
Hmm.
play or whatever. And I feel like that is a huge part of it. And again, I'm like, whether people realize it or not, like we're all so conditioned and so steeped in all this stuff. And a lot of it is bullshit, but like this is like the land we have all grown up on and we've got these like nasty roots underneath everything. And I think one of those nasty roots is like protecting that brand of masculinity that
Hmm.
is so
Yeah.
harmful to everyone, like not just
Yeah.
women and not just
No,
queer
it's
people and not just
hurting.
people of color. It's like everybody, but it's like, but we have to
But
protect it
this is the
because
tradition. This is how it was.
right.
Well, and did you probably read this as well? I hadn't known this before, but reading some interview with the director, he was saying it was important to him that when he was doing research for the movie, knowing the roots of football as a sport, it got so big because after the Civil War, these veterans were coming home and were like, our boys don't understand what it's like to go out in the battlefield. They're not masculine
Right.
enough. And so basically, football became uplifted because it was a basically simulated battlefield.
Right.
These boys got bigger and bigger and
It's like hurt
more
people hurt people. They
forceful
were like, you
and
don't know what it's like.
strategized in these ways. Yeah, in ways that were valued as
Yeah.
masculine. So to your point, then now when it's like, well, let's make it safer, that is deemed less masculine, but why? You know,
Right.
like,
Right. And I think there are
hmm,
so many people that are like so afraid to look at that question, and I don't, and they would never say they're afraid to look at that question. But like I think there are so many people that are like, and that's what I mean when I'm like they were offended by this movie because they were like, what? Like, don't critique this. Like, this was weird and didn't make any sense. But I'm like, it does make some sense if you want to like actually take the time to pick it apart and
yeah.
like and look and take a look at it. And there was one quote by the guy who, I have a bunch of tabs open on my computer and so many
No, you're good.
names. Uh, oh my God, so many tabs. It is the guy who helped design one of the mascots, the
Mm-hmm.
Tinsel Larry mascot, and his name is Kanupa Hanska Luger. And he is an indigenous artist living in New Mexico. And I was looking at one of his Instagram posts of like him making that costume, which he like made. It's actually really cool to see like the videos of him like using like foam to like fill out the
Oh,
head.
that's so cool. Hmm.
But he says at the end, this is, I mean, months and months ago, he says, watch him out now, M dash, where the mask finally tells the truth. And I haven't seen that anywhere else. I don't know if that was like a tagline
Hmm.
or is, and I just haven't
I'm
seen it anywhere, or if he just made that up. But I was like, I feel like that's a very cool lens to look at this through. Like the mask finally tells the truth of like this is like something that is so stylized and so fantastic and so like dramatic. But it's like a play. It's like reflecting us back if you'll like watch it and entertain it.
yeah.
And again,
Is
I
this
think it was
yeah.
maybe just like weird audience didn't know who it was for. I feel like who it was for me because
I was
I loved
I'm
it.
so Katie.
I
And
loved
Viva
this
on What
movie
About Bob's? Yeah.
so much. I
Look this
watched
up.
it twice. I both times it's like the needle drops that come in, but like at the same parts both times. I was like, ah, like it was just like so fun.
And I
The
think it
soundtrack
sits
is insane.
the
The
soundtrack
soundtrack
is
is so good.
amazing. Aesthetically, I was fed. I ate well. It was so
We were fed.
gorgeous to look at. It felt
We were
like
fed.
a music video.
It was
It
a music
just
video.
was, yeah, super great.
Um, well, I could talk for days, but should we just run through this movie and then whatever I don't force into?
Yeah, I think we start talking
Okay.
about it and then, yeah, we can always tag on our extra
And
thoughts
another
if they
thing.
don't come up. Yeah.
And again, I want to make this like, I know this stuff is like so, it's tricky. I know this stuff is tricky. And I'm trying to think of like, when you're talking to like your family members at Thanksgiving, it's like you want to say things in a way that people will hear you and like
Yeah.
actually listen to what you're saying, even if you know it's something that like they're not going to like at the beginning. And so I don't want to like turn anybody off. I want all of our listeners. I want people to like just perhaps open their brain up to like I actually just we just finished our edit for Suspiria, our
Mhm.
last episode today. So I watched that today and was reminded of a lot of things, which I feel like this movie Oh, weirdly, we do it again. Has a lot in common with
Had a lot
Suspiria.
in common. Really great back to back,
Really
which is
great back to back.
another thing that the bad reviews did not understand the
They didn't
cultural
get it.
context of
They're
Suspiria.
pairs. It's a pair. But
They go
similar
together.
to what we were saying at the end of that episode, um, like there's a degree of movie literacy required with
Mhm.
Suspiria to be like, this is a great movie.
Yeah,
Like if you were to show it to like a 12-year-old, a
yeah,
15-year-old, they'd be like, what is this? It's like
yeah,
so cheesy. It's like so over the top. The music is crazy. The effects are bad. Like it's like, but it's so great. And it's like so many horror movies after that are influenced by it. It's so
yeah.
important. It's like modern art. It's like weird, but it's you have to take context into account.
Yes.
Um, and I feel like this is really similar. And I feel like people are not taking context into account because it's like new. But I think similar to that degree of movie literacy that's required with Suspiria, I think this is not like a perfect movie by any stretch. There are
No.
plenty of
Yeah.
things I would critique. It's just because everyone else is critiquing them that I'm like, no, you don't get to say that about this.
Sit down. If you don't love it,
I'm
don't
like
say anything
Charlotte
about
in
it.
the Sex and the
Yeah.
City movie holding Carrie. No,
Yeah.
no. Um, but I feel like there are layers. Like, this is America. Everything is complicated here. There are so many layers to everything. And I feel like over this movie, there's like a layer of American history, and then there's like Black history, and then there's like color theory, and then there's like Native American history, and there's like all these different and religion and masculinity and sports history and like so many different things at play that I think however many of those layers you are able to like wipe the dust away and like look through, that will affect your read of this movie. And don't see through all those layers. Certainly, there's so much religious stuff in this movie that went over my head.
Yeah.
I was like, that looks
No.
like The
Yeah.
Last Supper, but other than that, I
Yeah.
know
Yeah.
I missed so many things. Um, and it was pretty heavy-handed at points, but there was a lot of stuff that I know that I missed. But if you're like just looking through the football lens, there was one review I read that was like, this is so unrealistic. Like, why would Cam going to Zay's house be how he is drafted? Like, that's not how that works. And I was like, this is like,
That's
that's
the
your
part
criticism.
you're worried about. Yeah.
And it was like,
That's
where is this team standing even that they're getting to draft? Blah blah blah. I was like, this is the craziest take. Like, if that's all you're looking at it through. So I feel like there are a lot of layers that we need to get through to give this like a fair shake, essentially. And then we
Mhm.
can pick it apart and be like, this was bad, this fell apart. Which again, there's plenty of stuff that could have been better, but let's start from the beginning.
Yeah.
Him.
Let's do it. Him.
We start with our main character, Cameron Cade, Cam. He is the cutest little
The
kid.
cutest. Oh,
So cute. What is he? Probably like 6, do we think?
yeah,
Younger?
maybe.
He's sitting cross-legged in front of a TV. He is obviously this is a flashback watching football on TV at his family home with his dad, his mom, his sister, and cousin. There's like a
Maybe
couple
some
people there.
family members there.
But there is like they're watching a game being played by the San Antonio Saviors, which is their team, and
Yep.
their quarterback is Isaiah White, aka Zay, played by Marlon Wayans. Marlon Wayans is, I feel, so good in this role.
Hmm.
He is so creepy to me when he's trying to be creepy.
Yes.
So he's on TV. We cut to like a little altar that is set up. It's like a religious altar set up in their living room to Isaiah White. It's got like
Hmm.
candles and flowers and photo of him, and it's like all this religious iconography. Um, they're like wanting him to win so bad. This play is going on. He gets the touchdown.
Yeah, it's
maybe
like
as a
the winning
tackle,
touchdown. I
winning
think it's like a
touchdown.
championship game. It's
Right.
like a big deal. Yeah.
It's a big deal. Dad is flipping out. He's like, "We won! We did it! Oh my God!" Little Cam is screaming. He's so excited. And then the announcers on the TV are like, "Hold up, we might have an injury on the field." Blah blah blah. We get a really close up shot of Isaiah's leg. It looks like a bone shank you cook with. It's like split at the worst angle. It's super close up. I saw another critique that was like they would never show that kind of injury on TV. It's like, okay, okay, guys. It's really disgusting. Little baby Cam like looks away. He looks at the little altar they have set up. It's kind of zooming into Isaiah's face. His dad comes over, grabs Cam's face, makes him look at the TV, and he's like, "No, you watch. Like this is what a real man does. Real man sacrifices for, you know, whatever, the love of the game." I
Hmm.
don't know. Makes him watch it. And then they have this little thing where the dad is like, okay, like you want it bad? Is that going to be you in the future?
Yeah.
You want to be the
Like
goat?
hyping
Is
him
that
up.
you? Hyping him up. The kid is
Yep.
so cute. And he's like, you want it? And he's like, I want it. And he's like, you're going to be the goat. And he's like, I'm the goat. And he's like, what does he say? Are you him? And he's like, I'm him. And he's like, say it,
I'm him.
I'm him. And he's like, I'm him. And
It's
it's so
so
cute and it's
cute.
so heartbreaking, but it's very cute. Uh, and then we cut to a really hyper stylized montage of like news footage and like practice game scrimmage footage.
And
This
it
movie,
looks, oh, I was just
no,
gonna
go
say
ahead.
it's in the style of like if you've seen any ESPN like sports montage.
It's giving us like a little bit of exposition. Isaiah White is getting a little old. This is 14 years later. So he's presumably in like his 40s.
Hmm.
And cut to him getting interviewed, I think in his home by an interviewer that I think I mentioned. I was like, is this woman doing a Candace Owens impersonation? His family is like really supportive. Oh, also his dad has died in this time.
Yeah, his dad has
So
died. Oh, and my one mention, I don't know if you recognized the actor who plays his dad because we see
didn't.
him in that first scene. I recognized him because he was in America's Next Top Model, which I watched a ton of America's Next Top Model. And the first season, like cycle 20, when they had boys and girls, he was in that
Uh-huh.
season. Don Benjamin.
Stop.
Yeah. I was like, who
Stop.
is that? I know who that is. Yeah. Of
I
and
love that
Tim
so much.
fame.
His top model father is dead, but his family is very supportive. Um, and it is made clear the interviewer says something about girls are going to be all over you, yada
Yeah.
yada. And his girlfriend is standing behind her and like pops forward and is like, "Oh, he's taken." Blah blah blah.
Yeah, and he's
Uh,
like, "Well, I have a girl." And she's like, "Very happily" or something like
it's
that.
very
Yeah.
cute. Yeah.
Yeah.
So then we cut to it's nighttime. He's on a field, football field doing drills or whatever. He's by himself. Throws the football, goes to get the football. The football is on the track part, like the goes around the football field, and it's just like spinning like a
Hmm.
top. He walks over to it, picks it up, and then when it cuts back to him holding it, we have something standing behind him.
Hmm.
This character is called the Horned Fanatic in the like
Mm.
show notes.
Mm.
It's like a guy, you can't see his face, but he's wearing like all you basically see in this scene is just like horns, like goat horns, and then like a poncho, kind of.
Hmm.
And he's standing behind him, like towering over him, and hits him over the head, right?
Hmm.
What does he hit him
Yeah,
with?
it's like has a blade or something on it.
Yeah, hits him,
Yeah.
cuts to black. Then we cut to he is at the hospital. He's in the foreground, mom and doctor in the background. We have like x-rays. He's got like a big skull
Yeah.
fracture
The scans are up. Yeah, and you can see. Yeah.
and he's got a traumatic brain injury that they can't explain. They don't know what happened. At this point, I'm like, did he like have like an aneurysm or something? Like is like was he actually attacked or is this like a psychological thing? I was not
Mm-hmm.
sure.
It's basically like this is really bad. If he gets hit in the head again, it could be career ending. He could have really bad brain damage.
Hmm.
And I
Um,
really liked this line where the doctor says, like, as a doctor, I really shouldn't recommend he continue playing. And that's when Cam then asks, but as a fan? And I mean, the first time I watched that, I was like, oh, damn, because I think obviously he's thinking about that. Like, yeah, for my health, there's my health, but then there's my career and there's fandom and everything. But the second time I watched it twice as well. And I watched it with my husband Jaden. I feel like I watched this movie the first time and the second time with a very personal like kind of view at it because Jaden's dad died because of like results from playing college football, which led to tons of prescription medicines for the pain caused by an injury in football.
mhm,
And then eventually all those complications led to his death.
mhm.
And so there's like a very personal attachment to football in my household.
Totally.
And Jaden loves football, like still does, loves especially college football. But when like he talks about it, like it's not without an understanding that like the stakes are so high and the injuries in this sport are so serious that like they can ruin your life. Like,
Yeah.
and so I think when I watched the film, that was my first initial biggest takeaway was like how high the stakes are. These from a young age, these boys work so hard. Sometimes they're working so hard to get their like family out of a poverty cycle because if they
Hmm.
hit, if they start getting into the even college to pro, like they can like support their entire family and get them out of low income demographic. And so it's like these really high stakes, but if they have enough career ending, like if they have injuries that end their career, it's like they could have brain damage, they could suffer other injuries that just keep them unable to do other daily normal things. And that ruins
Hmm.
your life too. So it's like, to me, watching it, that was like, that's like already a real horror. And so that's what I'm thinking about in like scenes like this. And when I watched that, all of that to say, the second time I watched it, that scene hit a little harder when Jaden like was watching it with me because he's like, that's real too, just because like when his dad was in college, like it wasn't just the fans, but like coaches wanted
Hmm.
them to keep playing even though they were injured. Like his dad
Right.
was team captain and was one of their best players. So it was like, oh, we can't have him not play. And
Right.
Jaden like follows sports closely enough to know that like, yeah, when his favorite players or when the best players on the team, when the quarterback is injured, that could mean the team losing,
Right.
which means the fans are like, put him in. Why is he not playing? And so it
Right.
is like it's like that important to fans that people keep playing and they're
Right.
not always thinking about them as people being injured. And
Right.
their mom's sitting there going, I don't know if I want you to play.
Right.
Like, I don't know if I want anything to happen to you. You know what I mean? It's
Right.
crazy.
And like the things that they like pump into these people to keep them playing even when they're hurt, like, and then the
Which is a
ramifications even down the
total,
road.
yeah, is a total theme during this too. Just like, yeah,
Hmm.
like we have all these, performance enhancement and also just like opioids to like dumb down pain and stuff like that. There's a lot of stuff going into their bodies
Hmm.
at sometimes just like whatever it takes to get them out on the field again.
Right.
So
It's very gnarly. Yeah.
to me, that's a very horrific decision to have to make.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And like you were saying too, like to your point earlier on about like the Civil War soldiers, like it's like going to battle and like literally putting your life on the line like for your family a lot of the
Well,
time.
and we saw his dad at the beginning, like making him watch and saying that's like what a real man
Hmm.
does is
Right.
he
Make
sacrifices. And that's
sacrifices.
like obviously a major theme.
Hmm.
So, you know, who are you sacrificing for? What are you willing to
Right.
sacrifice is like a
Right.
huge tone layer to this. Yeah.
Right. And the like
Anyway,
that's what a real man does is like an added layer of like the harm that comes along with that as well.
sure. Yeah.
I think we just get a quick cut to him like entering an arena, right? With like fans cheering, like
Yeah,
a tunnel, and then he
a
is like
tunnel.
backstage.
Yeah, and then he's heading back into a room because I think there's like a press conference. Yeah, but
Right,
then it's like moving him through fans. Yeah, I believe.
right. He's getting a haircut while like his family is talking behind him.
Yeah. It's like a kind of chaotic, everyone is talking about him. He's getting the
It's
haircut.
very chaoting.
Tim
His
Heidecker is being
phone,
very annoying.
his phone is like on the table in front of him, and it's like
Hmm.
pinging, ping, 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 and like notifications. He's got like Google alerts for himself set up.
Yes.
So like news articles are popping up, people are texting him. And then his family, I think it's the boy is his cousin, right?
It's his cousin or his brother, Drew. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was his brother because his mom, there's like a point where she's like, "You sound like your dad," or something like
Okay.
that.
And then we are getting close-ups that you hate to see of the clippers buzzing his head and getting closer and
Closer and
closer
closer.
to
Oh
the
man.
staples in his head. I was like my hands went numb. It was so awful. Sure enough, we get like a little like buzz sound, and then he freaks out. It's like clipped him or caught a staple
Yeah,
or
the
something.
it hits the staple.
Ugh.
Ugh.
He
Yeah.
like freaks out. Everybody gets quiet. He gets up. He's got like a little bit of blood in his hair, and he's like, "I'm fine. Like everybody, stop treating me like I'm broken. I've got worse injuries on the field."
He goes into like I have to perform and I have to do this. He's very much trying to have that I'm tough enough.
Right.
Like,
Honor and duty. Like, I
hmm
got this.
I
I can
have
do
to do
this.
this. Yeah.
And then we get Tim Heidecker, his agent Tom, in an actual press conference, where he says the exact same thing. Like, he's fine. He's had worse injuries on the field.
Tom is an agent for both of them now. He
That's
just
true. Yeah.
signed Cam
An
and
agent
he's
for
also
both.
Isaiah's agent, so
Yeah. And
but
he's
he
like,
doesn't
those are
want
all,
to he's like avoiding, yeah,
he
avoiding to
says, those are all
answer.
great questions and gets up.
Yeah.
But the first scary part is he's like walking out of the tunnel, the black tunnel onto the field. He's the last one out. We kind of see his silhouette from behind, and then he like is looking out at the field and then stops and like kind of turns around, and it's like pitch black, the tunnel, like you can't see
Hmm.
anything. And he's just kind of looking for a second, and it's like closing up on his face and then closing up on nothing. And then like you hear like a weird little like crinkly, like unidentifiable sound, and you can't see anything. And you're like, what is that? And then you kind of see like something that you're like, is that
It's
light? Is that like
like a
texture?
glitter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're like, I'm not sure what I'm even looking at, and it's like moving up. And I think I was like, ew, ew, like what is that? And it's what you come to find out is it is a glittery sombrero being worn by a fan whose face is painted black and red, I believe. And so
Yeah,
his
it's like the
face is like
Savior's
you
team
can't really
colors.
see it,
Yeah.
and he has like a glittery red sombrero on, and so he like tips his head up, and it's like the tip of his sombrero is what you're seeing move.
Hmm.
Um, and his eyes is like he's like completely fanatical and like looks
Yeah.
crazy, and takes his hat off and just like gestures to Cam to sign his forehead, right?
Yeah. And
and
he
doesn't say
holds out like
anything.
a
Yeah, he holds out a
Sharpie.
Sharpie and
Yeah.
it's just like, "Ugh," and like doesn't say anything. And
Yeah.
he's like, like, this is weird, but okay. Um, does it. That was gross and weird.
Again, this is something they're saying, which maybe made people feel uncomfortable that the fans in this world, in this universe, are depicted like the biggest fans are depicted as these like demonic kind of
Right.
like icky, greedy, uh ghoulish type
Hmm.
characters. And I find that interesting, and I
Yeah.
don't find that just a throwaway
Right.
choice. Like that
Right. That
seems
they're
like
like culpable in
hmm
this. Yeah, definitely. And we will see that again.
yes, this is
Um,
just a taster for a yeah, hyper fan.
but then we get to he's at a party later that night. I feel like this scene there wasn't a whole lot unless I'm missing stuff, which maybe I am.
Yeah, sure.
But he's at like a house party.
He's at a
He's with
house
his
party. He look,
brother.
looking very hot, very cool,
He
like
looks so good.
so
He's like in a fleece
good.
hoodie.
Hoodie on. He's smoking, he's drinking, he's kind of being a little loosey, carefree.
Hmm.
Not necessarily self-destructive, but just a
Yeah,
little
it
bit
feels
like,
there's like a
what's the point?
darkness.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can tell he has this kind of attitude where he's just showing up and he's not fully, yeah. But I think the one they do like do this one thing though where they show a moment with when he's with his
With
girlfriend.
his girlfriend. Yes.
Yeah, to kind of show cuz for her she I think she says something to the effect of like no matter what, I'm always proud of you kind of. Like
Yes.
I think
Whether you make it to
her
the league or not. Yeah.
yeah, so she's both her um and his mom are both proud of him already. Like he doesn't have to prove they're kind of there as like he doesn't have to prove anything to them. Like
Right.
they're already proud. He's already done enough for them.
I feel like his girlfriend and his mom are both like goodness and light.
Yes.
Um, and like kind of, yeah, like the guiding light throughout all of this, which I loved that he had a girlfriend that he loved. And he
Yeah.
mentions later that they've been together since high school, and she's
hmm
just like really lovely. And again, is like, I support you whether you get into the league or not. Like, we're here for you. We got you. Um, and yeah, she's lovely. He wants to be by himself. He goes and sits in a bathtub at the party, gets a phone call from Tim Heidecker. Says we've got an offer, blah blah blah. And then the girlfriend and the brother come in. They're like, "What is it? What is it? Like, who is it?" He says, "We're going to the fucking league."
Yeah,
So
he gets
excited.
excited because the
The
offer is
Yeah.
Zay is he confirms he is retiring, but wants to train you as compound.
Mhm. So the
So,
only catch is, yeah, he has to spend the week with Isaiah at his compound training to like make sure he's up to the task of taking
mhm.
over for him.
Yep.
Um, which that's not how that works. So then we get him in the back of a car being driven out to Isaiah's compound in the desert.
Again, similar to Suspiria, we were just stunned and speechless, I feel like, with all of the architecture and the interior and the production design. And it sounds like the whole creative team, like from the costume designers to set design, production design, they were all really cool and creative. And I feel like the director had a lot of fun working with all the other creative team. But I had to look up where it was filmed because I was like, where is this? I know obviously it's the San Antonio team, so I wasn't sure if it was Texas, but it sounds like it was filmed in New Mexico.
Hmm.
And the director was saying, I had read that he was like, it was so cool to film there. He said that New Mexico happened to have a lot of the building types that he already was hoping to see. Like he was really interested in like brutalist design, like concretes and very like harsh materials and brutalist shapes. And he was like, we were out there in New Mexico, and like there was some town had like their high school stadium, football stadium was like in a concrete building, and he was like, I didn't know why. It was a really weird choice for that town, but it was perfect. But yeah, there was like, so like the when they shoot the scenes in the football training center with the field and everything in the concrete like building, that's just like already existed. That's somebody's high school like stadium.
That's very cool.
And then the house that they drive up to, like his home, Isaiah White's home, is a, let's see, what's it called? It's a spaceport. So that's a
What does
real
that mean?
facility in New Mexico, and it's like a hub for like private space launches. So like millionaires and
For a
billionaires
spaceship?
that want to fly into space for like 5 minute trips can
Oh my
do
God.
launches from there. Which is crazy. So it's like this massive facility.
Yeah.
It's really cool looking. It has kind of a symmetrical,
Hmm. Well, it's like circular, right? From above.
circular from the top, but when you like approach it from the front, it kind of slopes up and really like builds into the land. It like it feels like it's built into the landscape, in concrete and
Hmm.
like reddened steel. You know me, I love a gothic
Hmm.
setup. So like this to me has a very gothic approach in a mod through like a modernist
Yeah.
lens, I guess, like having him be driven up to this building and you're like, ooh, it's gonna be spooky. Kind of like in Ex Machina. There's
Uh-huh.
that same
Yeah.
effect where Gleason or whatever gets dropped off in this jungle, and it's this super cool, unbelievable
Yeah.
house, but it's like
Be
holding dark
so
secrets.
isolated.
Yeah, these like isolated buildings, and our main character gets dropped off at it.
Hmm.
It's just like a cool,
Like
I think,
Nosferatu.
Nosferatu, Suspiria. May I mention that
Uh-huh.
again? But yeah, I think all like all over like the aesthetics really cool, but it was fun,
Very cool.
a fun little tidbit. Anyway,
A
but
spaceport.
on the
That's
way,
exciting.
they run into there's like some fans hanging out
Mhm.
side the house too.
Yeah, there's like a group of fans that are like camping out. It's like Burning Man. There's probably like 20 people out like beyond the gate of the property.
Mm.
There's like RVs and like they're grilling. These are just like the super fans. And then we get a woman smashing up against the window. Very jump scare. She is gross looking. And she's like, "We don't want you. We don't want you." Spits on the window. The driver's
Hmm.
like, "Oh, that's just Marjorie."
Yeah, that's just
Uh,
Marjorie.
and then they just keep driving. They go through the gate. He is dropped off. He is alone at this property. He goes to the door, like rings the bell. No one comes. It's like the door is unlocked, so he goes to go through it. He also
He's
picks
just
up
wandering through.
some Amazon packages or something on the front
Yeah.
porch. He's so cute. He's like so I feel like there are certain things about his character that like spell out that he is like the innocent one. And I
Hmm.
feel like a lot of times that comes off as like he seems like I have a nephew that's 11, almost 12, and I feel like a lot of times it's like reminds me of my nephew.
Yeah.
Oh, kitty cat.
Well, hi,
This is
honey.
Ozzy.
Little Aussie
Your
coming in.
debut. Um, but no, he reminded me of my nephew a couple times, and that was one like doing something really cute and like trying to be
Just
helpful.
yeah.
Um, so he goes in. It's a very, very cool building. It's like hallways that like go around a perimeter. It's like I feel like it's probably a lot like Suspiria, where it's like if you put the pieces together, the pieces don't make sense of like what this
Yeah,
house is.
yeah.
Like where is
Yeah.
everything? Um, like he wanders into a room that has a lot of like sports memorabilia. We get Strawberry Letter 23 by the Brothers Johnson come in, which is like
Hmm.
the soundtrack is so good.
So good.
Um, he is seeing like all these rings, like Super Bowl rings and trophies and whatever. And the music is like coming in through speakers somewhere. And he finds another room which has like a bunch of like stretched animal hides all
Mm-hmm.
around the room. And then we see in the back of the room Isaiah listening to music and like doing something with an animal hide, which is kind of spooky. He sees him from across the room.
He just kind of starts talking to him like, "Oh, hi, yeah, come on
Yeah, it's
in."
like him meeting
And
his hero.
yeah, and I feel like the conversation asserts um, Isaiah's dominance because he has this kind of like charming effect, but he's like clearly like, "Oh, don't call me sir, call me Zay," and he's a little off kilter. So like, I feel like you see
Mm-hmm.
Cam, who's like you said, just like a kind of a sweetheart, hometown boy, and doesn't quite know. He's like trying to be polite. This is his
Mm-hmm.
hero. Although Isaiah's charismatic, he's also just like a little
It's like in a
bit,
very unstable energy.
yes, you don't know how to have a
Mm-hmm.
conversation with him. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's he's like super nice. I feel like him and Elsie both, Elsie is his wife, played by
Hmm.
Julia Fox, who will come in later. I feel like they both do such a good job of like being those people who, when you're on their good side, it feels so good. And then when you're not, it's like horrifying.
Yeah.
And they both can like switch, but I feel like they're both like so magnetic when they're being this nice person. He starts talking about like the history of football, right?
Yes. He asks him why do you think the quarterback was invented? And he was like,
To win
to win
games.
games. But he talks about like the history of the Carlisle team, which I looked up is actually a true story. Like that's a real part of football history. Is there was a like boarding school built for First Nations Indigenous tribes on the reservation to play football,
Mm-hmm.
and they were playing against like white teams from Yale and other big like I don't know, the other big teams, and I guess there was like a size
Mm-hmm.
difference between the Carlisle boys and those other schools, and so the Carlisle school started coming up with trick plays and other ways that they could dominate the games, and
Mm-hmm.
of course. That didn't play well because all of a sudden all these white boys, their teams were being beat, and ultimately that ended up like the football association like changed rules so that certain those trick plays couldn't be done, I guess. And then
Mm-hmm.
the school ended up closing. And then the sad part of that story is, unfortunately, like we don't have that team anymore. But a lot of these other football mascots are referencing these First Nations and Indigenous teams.
Which that's like another like lens of history to look through, right? Like those boarding schools for Native American kids are like another like horribly fucked up piece of American history where they were like forced to assimilate to white culture to become like more civilized and like cut off their hair and like made them only speak English and like not like even know their like native
Mm-hmm.
language. This shocked me. So it's the Carlisle team, but their coach was named Glenn Warner, nicknamed Pop. That's where
Mm-hmm.
Pop Warner comes from. Like Pop Warner
Oh.
football for
Oh.
like kids, right? Isn't that what that is?
Yeah, he uses the story, I think, kind of as to symbolize, like, okay, this team was so good and interesting, and obviously, the one of the most exploited populations in the U.S., and we're able to like rebel against the system, but in the end, we're kind of pushed to the side into obscurity and became mascots, which
Mm-hmm.
is, I think, in Zay's mind, the worst thing that can happen to you is
Mm-hmm.
to enter obscurity and become a mascot. That is
Mm-hmm.
like one of his like
Yeah, he says,
main
don't be no
fears.
mascot. He's rattling off a couple like important, like, remember this, remember this. And then he says, and the most important thing to remember is, and then he pauses and he goes, oh shit, and like walks away. and like walks over to his little animal hide table and is like, "Can you hold this? Like, I need your help with this. I'm gonna hold this. You nail this in." And he like lifts it up over his head. Um, and then I feel like this is just an example of like the very fun music video editing. He like lifts it over his head and is about to swing, and Zay goes, "Wait, wait, wait. Most important thing is to have fun." And then it's like he starts swinging it down in slow motion, and then we get this big red gothic font over the top that says "Day One Fun." And we get Lemonade by Gucci Mane coming in
Mm-hmm.
here as well,
It's like piano
which was
music.
a
Yeah.
delight. Oh
Yes.
my God, I was
So
so
good.
delighted. And this is where I was like, oh my God, this is so fun. Like, this is the fun and games portion. Um, I think he says, like, welcome to church. It's like he has his own private field. So we have Isaiah and Cam just playing some football, like running drills, and we've got this Gucci Mane track over the top that's so much fun. They're really having fun, just
It's
running
really
around the field
upbeat.
together. It's very
Hmm.
upbeat. We're catching footballs, we're throwing footballs, and then we get Marco arrive, who's like the health guy.
Sports
It's like the sports
medicine
medicine. Yeah.
doctor. Yeah, he's like
So he
their
shows
guy.
up with a couple other white people. Marco's white, Australian,
Yeah,
and
I was telling Jaden the second time we watched it, I'm like, Marco feels like he just got pulled out of the Mad Max universe because he's Australian and has this like offbeat weirdness to him
very
where you're kind
weird.
of like, he just
Uh,
has like the way he speaks and
uh-huh.
stuff
Yeah, it's a very weird
present.
energy. He shows up with like a couple other like assistants. They like call him over. It's still pretty light, but they like have him take his clothes off, and he's like, "What?" And they're like, "You never had a physical? Like, strip, come on." And he's like, "Okay," and like takes all his clothes off, shredded. Cam is shredded. His
Yeah.
abs are out of control. um, Takes all his clothes off. Isaiah's talking to him about like, the gig, while Marco is like measuring him and like calling out measurements, which again, it's like, American history, it just feels a little like, I don't know. It feels a little icky if you like know American
Yeah.
history, like white people measuring and seeing how athletic this like strapping young black kid is. It
Hmm.
just feels a little weird.
Yeah.
And that's again like one of those lenses that like, are we looking at it through this? Because I'm sure that's intentional. This is when we
Yeah.
get the great line from Isaiah, where he says, as a black quarterback, I had to be great just to be good. Imagine what I had to do to be the best. And I feel like, I don't know if I said that already at the top of this, but feel like I feel that way about this movie. Like, to be good, it had to be great. And it's like, it wasn't great. So people were like, this is bad. But I feel like this was a really
Mm.
good movie. Maybe I'll take this part to go into one of my Word docs
Yeah.
about black movies, and maybe we'll edit all of this out.
No, put it. Yes.
So like as a precursor, like white culture, this is something that like again feels like a grandparent at Thanksgiving conversation. Like white culture in America, I think a lot of people, particularly white people, think of it as like the default culture. Like they don't notice when a commercial or a movie has all white people. They don't notice at all.
Hmm.
And then when there's a Kleenex commercial with like a black mom and a white dad, they're like, a black mom and a white dad? Like that was a choice. So it's
Yeah.
like anything other than whiteness is a choice, which we know we know why. It's like
Could
we're
be.
trying to do better every day, but we know
Yes.
why that's like
Yes.
that. And like
Yeah.
there are so many systems in place that were put there for terrible reasons, and not all of them have been taken down yet. So white culture, historically, for racist reasons, is like the pervasive culture. It's like the most well
Default.
funded, like,
Hmm.
and it's like the most put in front of us. White media is often the most recognized because it's what's put in front of us, and it's often the most well-funded because it's the most recognized because it's what's put in front of us, and around and around and around it goes. So like when we have a Black Disney princess, there's people up in arms about it for no reason. And like when we have, I'm trying to
Well,
think
I'd
of
say
another.
that the latest Macy's Day Parade, people were
Yeah.
having a fit
What?
over rap music
Right,
not
which I
being
watched
American.
that and was like, I couldn't even think of what they were talking
Yeah,
about.
I was like, wait, what is
So
everyone
weird.
having an issue with? This
Yeah,
feels
right.
like
And like,
the diverse America that I'm accustomed
right.
to. Like,
Yeah, I think a lot of white Americans conflate whiteness and Americanness and don't even realize they're doing it. Because of that, it's like white movies. There are plenty of white people movies that are a part of people of all colors' childhoods and lives. Like they're like, oh my God, I grew up watching Pretty in Pink too. Like, even though it's all white people and it's like very white people problems. And the inverse is less true. There are less white people that grew up with like Black movies as a part of their life because that's like more of a choice.
hmm
And that's like that's an interesting thing. And that's a thing that like
yeah.
as white people you don't really need to think about. But it is something worth thinking about. And I have a couple of quotes written down so that it's not me
Mhm.
saying it. It's a Medium article called Black Films and How Representation Disrupts Quality. He says, a lot of great Black films are deemed bad and are in turn misunderstood by general audience members. It's argued that the validity of a Black film depends on the trauma that said characters go
Mhm.
through throughout the film. And a good example would be Steve McQueen's 12 Years a Slave. Lupita won her first Oscar for her performance in the film, which featured her being sexually and physically abused. This furthers the narratives in a Black filmmaker's mind that to be praised by the masses, your film needs to include a disturbing portrayal of those characters. And then he goes on. In 2018, Spike Lee won an Oscar for his film Black Klansman for Best Adapted Screenplay. As he went up to receive his award, the building gave him a standing ovation. They're well aware that Spike has been snubbed by the Academy, and this was their way of giving him his flowers for all the work he's put out. Spike would then lose the Best Picture nomination to Green Book, a film about a white bodyguard who's hired to protect a Black pianist as he navigates the antebellum South. It's a cookie cutter film that doesn't ruffle feathers and features Black people how they want to see us.
Hmm.
So it's like, I feel like so many white people don't realize that like there is a lens that we're looking at things through because they're like, oh, well, this is default. Like, I'm not looking at it through anything. But
hmm
it's just like a lack of other people's cultures and a lack of knowledge of other cultures' histories. And I think when they don't get it, they're like, this is bad, or like this is tacky, or like I think people are really quick to criticize things that don't resonate with them, which is fine, but I feel like you need to be aware of why.
A movie that I love called The Last Black Man of San Francisco obviously has some other parallels to this, but there's a scene in it where the main character is on the bus in San Francisco and overhears two girls behind him talking about how much they hate the city and talking about San Francisco, and they're from LA. And the whole movie is spent him reckoning with his kind of troubled relationship with the city of San Francisco as a black man in the city. And so when he's overhearing these two women criticizing it, he turns around and goes, "But do you love it?" And they're like, "What?" And like, "Do you love the city?" And they're like, no, we're just here, we're just visiting. We're from LA or something like that." And he's like, "You don't get to hate it until you love it."
Yes.
And
Yes, that's exactly what I mean.
it's such a powerful line, which for me, I love San Francisco. I used to live there, and I actually feel the same way about like San Francisco and Salt Lake City.
Yes.
when people
Yeah.
have things to say about both of those cities, I go, but you don't get to hate it until you love it because
Yes.
I feel like I don't know, I feel like that like about things that I hold close to
Hmm.
myself, like
Like
I
I can
don't want to
criticize
hear,
it
yeah, like I can
because I
criticize
know
it
it.
because
Yeah,
I know it and I've taken the time to love it.
totally.
And I think there's room for criticism without like having to know everything
Absolutely.
about the
Yeah.
thing. But I feel like to criticize like specific things without giving you yourself a chance to understand it first, I think is maybe a disservice to yourself.
Totally.
Yeah.
I think that quote is like, yes, that's exactly that's like the perfect way to sum up how I feel about this. Like, yes, that is exactly how I feel. I have one more quote from an author named Joshua Mackey. The article is for Blavity, the website called Blavity. Blavity? It must be Blavity. It's called In an Industry Dominated by Whiteness, Here's Why Black Film and TV Must Have Black Critique. He says, we are all socialized into our identities by the world, and with that socialization comes inherent biases that we can't readily perceive, which is why I take reviews on black film and TV from white folks with a grain of salt, as whiteness creates a barrier to reviewing black work in the capacity that it is designed to be seen in. Don't get me wrong, art developed by black folks is not absolved from critique. This goes for visual arts, music, film, theater, and TV. However, we have to ask, what do we do when the reviewer is not able to unveil the cloaked biases that hinder them from an objective review? And I feel like many of the reviews I read of him, I like don't trust those people to have acknowledged the like veil of their biases.
Hmm.
Like I said in the beginning, I feel like it failed to satisfy audiences on both ends of the spectrum. I think white audiences for everything we just said, and then I think a lot of black critics for what we said earlier about it like not going deep enough in like bringing up
Hmm.
race and then kind of like not doing as much as it could with it,
Hmm.
which I think is really valid. I have a review. This is from Fowole for the Pit News. They say, while the religious imagery is more fleshed out, although far too heavy-handed to be enjoyable for me, the racial commentary falls flat. While some may say that the film only sets out to explore religious themes, there's too much slave imagery and too many comments about Withers being light-skinned to negate the themes of race entirely. The issues that afflict black men in sports are heavily present and complex, but the film explores most of these issues lazily or not at all. A measly 96
Hmm.
minutes, the film did not have enough time to explore all of its themes, so the ending rushes to a conclusion that feels incomplete. The film gestures towards themes and ideas that could have cemented this film as a new classic in black horror, but it fumbles any merit it had at the 40-yard line.
Hmm. It's as if it's not being understood on one end of the spectrum and then expecting more from it on the other
Yeah.
end.
And I think, which I'm working this out as I'm saying it, so maybe
Hmm.
we'll cut this, but I something that I read in one of the articles that I read is like there's a difference between black stories and stories that feature black people, right? Like
Hmm.
there's like you watch a Hallmark Christmas movie with the black family. It's like this is a story that features black people.
Hmm.
But like Green Book is a
Yeah.
black story. And I feel like again, people like to know how they're supposed to feel about things in movies,
Yeah.
particularly race. And I wonder if this movie just like didn't choose whether it was a black story or a story featuring black characters.
Hmm.
And so then just like everybody was like, this isn't enough.
Hmm.
And I don't know what to make of that. I also don't know what to make of the fact that the writer director, what is his name? Justin Tipping is not black. I do think that the
Hmm.
studio leaned really heavy on attaching Jordan Peele's name to this,
Sure.
um, even though it was just like produced by his production company. Um, but yeah, I have I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that.
I guess it would be um, important for us to also acknowledge our own like position and biases too. Like
Oh
we're
my
watching
God. Yeah.
this, like
Yes.
to the point of like if I can't sit here and go, yes, I've grown up with a certain media diet
Yeah.
and my literacy, my understanding is going to be limited for sure. So when I watch this
Absolutely.
and I'm taking in stuff that to that last critic's point, what he's seeing, I'm not. It's going right over my head, and I'm going, oh yes, this makes sense to me to my extension of my understanding of of the black experience in America, and that is so limited by my own experience in ways that my own blind spots don't allow me like and unless I really try anyway. I don't
No,
know.
absolutely. And I also hope it's clear that like that's what I was getting at before. Like I just would like to present an idea to some people that maybe are not aware that this is even a
Sure,
thing, that like maybe this is a thing that you're
this is
looking at
us.
the world through,
Yes.
and like sit with that. What does that feel
Yes,
like? Like I
this is
just a
us.
little wonder.
Yeah, at our
This is
metaphorical
an
Thanksgiving
exercise.
table. Yeah,
Yes.
maybe opening up a conversation from our privileged
And
position.
also,
Yeah,
yes, absolutely. And also, this is what I meant when at the beginning of this episode, I was like, I didn't have that much to say about this until it got abysmal. It's like panned, it's like critically panned. Everybody hates this movie. And that is when I was like, why does everybody hate this movie? Like,
yeah,
I, this is like, this is something that I like I'm aware of. Like I went looking for this stuff because it's stuff that I like know to be a thing on some level already. But like it's so unfair. Like I feel like the criticisms, there are plenty of like valid critiques. People have issues with like the third act, which I agree with kind of.
hmm,
I think a lot of things could be fleshed out more. I think some of the metaphors are a little heavy-handed, but like also, did anybody watch Frankenstein? Like, sometimes metaphors are heavy-handed, and everybody loved Frankenstein. They're like, get this to the Oscars. And I'm like, what's the difference? Like,
yeah,
this is also, they're both like so pretty to look at, so fun to watch, really great performances. I don't think anyone can say that him didn't have great performances. Um, I feel like word of mouth from the name of a director kind of drove traffic for both of them, like Guillermo del Toro. Everybody's like, oh my gosh, Guillermo del Toro. And then Jordan Peele's name was attached really heavily to him. And then they both had like really, really heavy handed metaphors, which are great to watch.
hmm,
I had a great
which are
time
like
at
what these.
Frankenstein.
Yeah, to your point, like that's what like these genre vehicles are for.
Right.
Yeah.
So like
So
why does everyone I know and everyone on Letterboxd is like Frankenstein, oh my God, like this was a spectacle. This was like cinema's back. And then him is like trash. Like I'm like, why don't you just like sit on that for a second longer
yeah,
before you say it was like, why do you think it's trash? And why do you feel like these are so different? Because
yeah,
they are not that different. Okay, so he's getting his physical. Uh Marco wraps up, makes a comment about like, you can put your clothes back on. Why did you take all your clothes off?
yeah,
And everybody makes him feel weird about taking his clothes off. And he's like, you told me to. And they're like, nobody told you to. So it's just like, yeah, keeping him very uncomfortable in his
yes,
surroundings. We get a couple of cuts to a really dramatic operatic score. I think especially around Julia Fox's character, which I
hmm,
love. She comes charging in with like her assistant. She's holding a jade sex toy, making an influencer video about it. And then her
And she
assistant
has to
reminds
like,
her that she needs to plug her endometriosis foundation.
yeah.
That was very funny. She introduces herself to Cam, says, "Oh my gosh, I'm so happy to meet you." She, I feel like Julia Fox does a really, and maybe this is why she gets cast in anything, because I feel like she plays the same character always. Uh,
Yeah.
but it's like she never seems like she's acting.
Such a good use of Julia Fox.
Yeah, it's
Like
a
it's
great use
so
of Julia
like
Fox.
I love her in this. I
I
love
love her
her.
in this.
Exactly. She did everything right. She was like perfect. Her
She has like,
energy is so I love it.
it's great. She has like peroxide blonde, really long hair, bleached eyebrows,
Mm,
insane Julia Fox eye makeup, that we have come to expect from her. She's
yeah.
super nice to Cam, like kind of motherly, but like hip young mom. She's like, "So
Yes.
nice to meet you." She's going on a trip. She's like, "We'll see you when we get back." And then she says, "Anyway, have fun." And then that crazy operatic score kicks back in. And then she screams, "Come on, Taylor!" Which I thought
Because
was so funny.
Taylor's going to sees Cam and goes, "I'm a really big fan," and then just say, "Taylor,
Taylor!
Taylor."
It's just like so chaotic. It's very funny. Um, then we get Cam's first ice bath. We get introduced to uh the fact that
Zay
Isaiah
and
gets
his
his
blood.
blood drawn for like, yeah, like, which apparently this is a real thing. Did you know this is a real thing? Ryan said this is a real thing, blood doping.
I
It's
didn't know
like
that.
you take your blood when it has like a higher, maybe I'll look it up. I don't want to make Ryan sound dumb. I'm sure it is if he said it is.
Source
Uh,
Ryan.
it's like you take out your blood when it has like really great blood oxygen levels and like save it for a rainy day and like just put it back in when you need
Mm.
it, like a boost. Um, he says, I don't know, he says it's called auto transfusion or something. Cam's like, "Is that legal?" Like, and he's like, "You want a hit?" But Cam is again like very weirded out by this
Yeah, he's
little
like, "That's
small town
strange."
boy. He's like, "No, I'm good." Marco starts talking about like American football is this like primal urge, like gladiators. This is the newest iteration of that. And then he walks out of the room, and I think he says many religions would consider his blood holy as he leaves.
Hmm. And he
Um,
also, before he leaves, he has a like syringe of sub sort of substance, and he stabs it into Cam's arm and says, "It's for the
mhm.
pain."
For the pain, you'll thank me.
Yeah.
It also has on the side of the vial the little like
Is
emoji.
that on there from the beginning?
From the beginning. I
Really?
didn't realize it until the second watch.
I
It's
thought it
like,
was only at the end. I didn't realize that.
what are
It's
those called? It's not emoji. It's like old emoji before emojis, where it's like just
oh
keyboard
yeah.
characters and it's the like
Jaden would know
shrugging,
how what it's
like
called.
trolling.
Yeah.
It's the trolling shrug.
It's yeah, the trolling shrug that you can type out using only
Mhm.
characters on the
And that's
keyboard.
like on a little label on it, which
Hmm.
is very weird, cool, little detail. He sinks under the bath. Then we get kind of like a jump scare too. There's another guy that's kind of spooky. Uh, Another one of Isaiah's team, and he is dumping water on Cam, says "wakey wakey,"
Oh yeah, he
uh,
wakes him up every day.
and
Kind of
he
gets
says,
him.
"We're back at it like a crack addict" or something. And then we get Shook Ones Part 2 by Mob Deep. And this is also very, very cool. So it's Cam and Zay running through the desert together.
Yeah.
It's like very music video, very Nike commercial. Um, Cam is not looking so good. Cam starts to
Yeah. He's
overheat
getting
or
maybe
something.
dehydrated, overheating. That no New Mexico desert will get you.
He's running with the football, drops the football, falls down. Isaiah keeps running. I think the music stops. It's like he's laying there, and then we get from a distance, we're getting a shot of Cam laying on the ground, and then we get like a boot, a cowboy boot stepping into
Hmm.
frame. And this is our Tinsel Larry. This is one of the Savior's mascots. The Saviors have three mascots. Lead costume designer was Dominique Dawson,
Hmm.
and they discussed the different mascots. We had three mascots that kind of traveled the different eras of the team. We started out with Conquistador Larry, which is this gluttonous, pillaging warrior character that's basically in all armor. You can see him with his
Hmm.
silver conquistador hat that over time becomes politically incorrect. So we see him, he's got like kind of like a cartoon face, but it's like one of those big like foam heads with like a conquistador pointy helmet
Yeah.
and then like
Okay.
a suit of
Okay.
armor. Um, and then they evolve into Tinsel Larry, which is the razzle dazzle rose gold glitter monster, as we like to call it. He's repping the cowboy hat. He has these really dynamic gloves that we worked to build and create with an incredible artist from New Mexico that I mentioned earlier.
Mhm.
Over time, that became politically incorrect as well because we're utilizing these Native American references and using them for mascot purposes, which is disrespectful. The final mascot they end up with adopting is the goat, which is a white, furry, very abstract goat that we created with
Mm.
rose gold horns, these big rose gold eyes, and even rose gold hooves. He was built by an artist by the name of Spencer Hansen in Thailand, and he has an ombre dip of all of his fur, kind of like he has the blood of the saviors on his hands and his feet. So it's like a white goat that goes to like pink and then red and has these like big
Mm.
like iridescent eyes. But Tinselary steps into frame here and has shag tinsel in like different layers down its body, and then is wearing like cowboy boots and big like gloves that look kind of like hockey gloves, but they have like fringe, like Native American details, and then a
Yeah.
huge hat, like a cowboy hat, and then no facial features at all. And he is holding a gigantic like pickaxe and dragging it through the sand, walking towards Cam. Gets to Cam. Cam is like on his back, looking up, like can't really do anything. And then we get this really beautiful shot of like up into the sky with this like rose gold shimmering creature with like bright blue behind it. And he like
Yeah.
lifts up the pickaxe and swings right to like where that head injury is.
Yeah.
Um, and then what? It cuts to like
Yeah.
Isaiah
Then
being like, "Are
it's
you okay?"
yeah. Then it's cuts to like Isaiah. So it's like Isaiah staying over here and being like, "Here, let me get you some help. Let me get some water. Help is
Yeah.
coming," or something. So I read that as like maybe this is like a hallucination
Hmm.
or some sort of like as he's like maybe dehydrated, the head
Yeah, and
trauma.
I feel like this too. Like from the beginning with that like creature standing behind him. I was like, is all of this fake? Is all of this like in his head? And then is
Yeah.
that like a commentary on like CTE? Like, is none of it
Yeah.
real?
To me, it seemed like the mascots, they kind of are very symbolic in that, like, I don't know if they're, because it's like, it's not mentioned when he first gets injured, the incident. They don't talk about,
Hmm.
like, attacked by mascot.
Right.
That's not like the issue. So it's more like he was injured and like like the manifestation of the cause of the injury was this like mascot, right? And then in this moment as he's like starting to feel ill and like sick, there's a mascot coming. You know what I mean? Like I feel like it's this like haunting element. Maybe not as literal, but
Yeah. Yeah. No, and it's like visually so so cool.
that's cool. The descriptions of the three
Yeah.
different mascots. They're very cool. They like, I would love to see them in like a museum setting, like in a
Yeah.
gallery setting, and
Yeah.
just be able to like
Because
walk
they're
around and stare at
big
them.
too. Hmm.
Hmm. And really incredible.
So they get back to the compound. Oh, we forgot with the wakey wakey. We're back at it. Like a crack addict, mob deep. We get day two poise is when they're
Right.
running.
Today is poise. Yeah.
We are in
And
day two.
each of the days he's like learning a new like principle
The principal
from
of
Zay.
QB1. Uh-huh.
Hmm.
So he's kind of in recovery. They're back in the dome, the football field dome. There's like a couple other guys there. He's sitting on a bench with Isaiah. They're having a conversation about, Isaiah says, would you rather never get tired or never get injured? They have a little conversation about that where Cam's like, imagine how many greats we lost to injury. Like, for sure, never want to
Yeah,
get
I'd
injured.
never want to get injured. Group of guys come in, some free agents.
Some free
They're gonna
agents with
play
nothing to lose.
nothing to lose. They're gonna play some catch. Yeah,
And Isaiah's kind of like goading him. He's like, you don't have to play. You're resting. And
you're
like gets
resting. You're
up.
tired.
Marco comes over and sticks him again with the syringe. I think he says something like, this is going to be a really rough week or something.
Yeah,
This part was a very gnarly, but I feel like the performances here, I feel like this is where the performances were my favorite.
yeah.
So he says we're going to play a little differently. He asks for a volunteer. One of the guys volunteers. He's got a chest tattoo that says faith. Again, it's hard not to read something into everything in this movie.
Yeah,
So I'm like, I don't know what means something and what doesn't.
yeah.
But he's got like faith and script on his chest. He's like, I'll do it, Mr. White. And so he goes and like stands separately, and then we have the other, what, three guys go down to the end of the field. And they're gonna do some like drills of like quarterbacking where they do the like what like say hut
Yeah.
like he throws the ball at him. So Cam has his back to the other players, his eyes closed. Presumably somebody throws him the ball while his eyes are closed. So like
I
the
think
snap.
it's
Is that what it is?
yeah, a snap, and then he has to throw
So he
it
has to
to
get it,
like,
turn around, and find a guy downfield and throw it within, I think the clock is at like 2 seconds. He does it a couple times, and Isaiah is in a chair, like a folding chair, facing him when his back is to the other players. And then we have that tall guy, the wakey wakey guy in the glasses, standing off to the side with the volunteer with one of those little football launchers that has the like two spinning wheels that like you feed a football into and it goes thunk.
yeah,
And it's very ominous.
yeah.
So he does a couple of like the snaps, gets the guys, then misses one for whatever reason. And Isaiah's like, oh, too bad.
Too slow or something.
Too slow. And then the henchman feeds ball into the thing and it whap, comes out and hits the guy right in the face from like 2 feet away.
Yeah, and they're going.
gnarly.
It's just launching the football at a high speed.
And Cam is like, what the fuck? Like, what's happening? And Isaiah's like, I don't know, man. You better get it together. And so now he's like totally shaken. The next like two he misses. The guy gets two more to the face.
Isaiah's getting more and more.
He's
like,
getting very
upset.
frazzled.
Not like Cam's getting distressed. Isaiah's like, "What are you doing?" Like egging him on. You're not a very good teammate. What's happening here? Get your head in the game. And then Cam's starting to like get stressed and yell at the other guys like, "Our man's dying over here." I think he
Yeah.
says at
Oh,
one point.
God, that was so
Yeah.
good. Yeah, Isaiah says, as the quarterback, all the glory, all the defeat is on your shoulders. So
Yeah.
please, and then screams, get your fucking shit together, like in his face, very unhinged. Cam is like very freaked out. And I feel like here is again another example of when he seems like kind of like a little kid. He's like very freaked out. He's like, give me somebody that can catch. Like, our man's dying, like crying out to these guys. It's really cute. He's like really trying to like pull this team together to help this guy. The guy is getting so messed up. His nose is totally broken. It's like up all high. There's a tooth on the ground. It's like he's covered in blood. And then finally it ends or something. He goes to check on the guy. I feel like the score changes here. There's like a harp present sometimes in the score that makes it sound like a literal like dream sequence, you know, in cartoons when
Yeah.
the harp is like doo doo doo. It's like very, and he's just like staring. The guy gets up. He's like laughing. Everybody seems crazy. So he goes into for his like rehab. Isaiah wants him to go into a hyperbaric chamber. which this part's also pretty gnarly. He just like goes into this little like room that
Yeah.
seals shut.
Just like
You can
has
see the
like
dial turning up, like the
the pressure
pressure.
changes, yeah, in
And
there.
he's
And it's
like,
supposed to be good for you, but like he has like it's like he's like glitching out in there.
he's
It's like a
glitching out.
weird
It's like he's like
montage.
crying out in pain and like holding his head.
Hmm.
And over it, you can hear a voicemail from his mom who's like, I've been trying to reach you. I hope you're good. I hope you're taking care of
Yeah.
yourself. Try not to hit your head. And then right before the scene ends, he like is sitting up against the wall and like hits his head up against the wall.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Um, then we cut to day 3, leadership. Cock-a-doodle-doo, get the fuck up. There's a choir singing. And day 3, I feel like he's kind of like lost his mind. Like he's like laughing and like seems kind of out of it. They're like doing injections. He's like laughing in the mirror. And then this is where they're in their cutest little outfits on the field. They're in
Oh
their
yeah.
like crimson with the like iridescent helmets and the like pit viper type like
Yeah.
visors that are like shimmery, and he's in a little crop top.
Yeah.
It's very cute.
Pretty cute.
He is acting really crazy. He gets hit. You kind of see like X-ray mode, like it shifts to like blue and
Yep.
black, and you can see his injury like splitting, like cracking, like ice
Yeah.
kind of. We have Isaiah like yelling at him, yelling like mean insults as a way to motivate him, which again, I feel like
Yeah.
this is like toxic boy stuff. This is like
Just egging
the
him on.
motivation is like, you're a little
Hmm.
bitch. Like,
Yeah.
that's not what motivates me. Isaiah says, you're an emotional little pretty boy chasing validation from strangers because your father didn't love you, is what he says. Um, and again, I feel like this is kind of like hyper, like Technicolor version of like how boys talk to each other, like how like in this like like we're getting razzed up, but it's like just too much enough that you're like
Yeah.
it's not real, right? He's trying to like hype him up. This is maybe like my favorite part. Isaiah grabs Cam's face mask and he says, this ain't no fucking game. This ain't a fucking game, man. This is everything. You are not your father. And then he like kind of gets him, like his voice cracks a little bit, like he's emotional. And he says, does Cameron Cade want this? And Cam says, yes, I fucking want this. And his voice is totally cracking. And then Isaiah screams at him, then what are you willing to sacrifice? And Cam says, everything. And then the camera moves to inside the helmet, which is a very cool shot. So you're like looking out through the face mask.
Hmm.
And you just see Zay's eyes, and he's like nodding, and he says, then show me. And it's like, God, it's so cool. And it's just so like, yeah, like roid rage testosterone, I feel like.
Yeah. Hmm.
Um,
But it's
and
playing to Zay's philosophy that he's trying to like get Cam on board with. Like to be great, you need to dig in. Like I think he says something about this the day before. Like you have to dig deeper into yourself and find something that's greater than external validation. Jaden made the comment too. He's like, they do a good job in this movie of exhibiting how these star players almost have to just go beyond, like they're almost psychopathic in how
yeah,
they like go about life. They're like living on a
just turn off
different,
everything else. Yeah.
yeah, like you have to either like sacrifice everything, not attach yourself feelings nothing to anything else. And I think
Mhm.
that's like Zay is the purest example of this. Like we'll see as the movie continues, he doesn't have remorse. He doesn't feel like, I would say he doesn't experience certain emotions or feelings that might otherwise, for the rest of us, it might get in the way of like complicating relationships, maybe make us make different choices throughout the day. Zay is trying to be like, you're different. We have to be better. We live at this standard. Like, if you want to be the greatest, you have to rise above it all. And there's this God complex, obviously, with all of the like religious savior Christ iconography happening throughout the movie.
I felt like this part too made me think something really fun that I'm excited to tell you.
Yeah.
So we were saying, I feel like from pretty early on in the movie, we were like, this is Suspiria. This is Suspiria for
Yeah.
boys.
Yeah.
Like there are a lot of similarities. It's like he goes to
Totally.
this like academy to like help him be better and it's like doesn't feel right, but like is he going crazy? They're like pumping him full of this weird thing that he's not sure what's in it.
Yeah.
He's like maybe imagining everything, but maybe not. Maybe
Maybe
Satan
not.
is involved.
Hmm. Yeah.
Um, so I feel like yeah, it's like and again it's like this is not Suspiria and like you have to take context and everything like Suspiria was 1977 but like that movie was also really I would say style over substance, maybe that's blasphemous, but I feel like that story was like maybe a little disjointed if we're going to look at just the story of
Yeah.
it.
I would say.
But it's like it's such an important piece. um there's a lot of symbolism. There's a lot of moments of suspense, but not everything gets like wrapped up perfectly to where you're like
Hmm.
kind of just left to interpret whatever you're going to interpret. But I saw a lot of reviews that were like, similarly, this is Midsommar for boys, this is the substance for boys, which people were saying in like a negative way. Like, do we not want himbos in horror movies?
Yeah.
Like, absolutely, I do. Yes, please.
Yeah.
Uh,
This is all complimentary as far as I'm
yeah.
concerned.
And then one review was like, just watch The Long Walk, which is that Stephen King one that came
Oh,
out this year, which I didn't see, but I
me
listened to
neither.
it on Too Scary Didn't Watch.
Same.
Um,
Same.
so
So I know. Yeah.
I'm like, is it just that this is like too stylized of a movie for a movie that centers masculinity? Like, where's the disconnect? Like, why are
Hmm.
people so unhappy with this and are referencing all these other movies that I feel like are kind of similar? I'm like, is it like too styly? Is there too much tinsel? Like, what's going on? And then I had written a note that says, it's giving camp, it's giving football camp. And then that taking that note, it wasn't until I was at the gym the other day and there's these two guys that I am at the gym at the same time as often. And they're like trying to help each other get into shape. And they're often like spotting each other at the weights. And it's like a lot of like yelling at each other, like, you got it, man. Like similar to this,
Yeah.
like not
Yeah.
obviously saying your dad didn't love you, but like it's like that
Yeah.
similar, like, come on. And then the guy's like, ah, like doing it. And I was like, oh my gosh, like this is so like camp hyper masculine. Like there is a grain of truth in him that like I don't see because I'm not in those like masculine spaces that often, which led me to the connection. I think this is Jennifer's Body for boys. I feel like
Mm.
this is like whatever that did for like female friendships and like bisexuality and like femininity and like femininity like facing masculine, like the male gaze, like all of that. I
Yeah.
feel like it's like made that into like a monster story. I feel like
Yeah.
this is like that. It's like taking all the like boy stuff and making it into like, I don't know.
Jennifer's Body.
It's
Yeah.
Jennifer's Body, which I love. Give me
Which we
all the camp.
so good. So
And
good.
also to that point too, which I know Jennifer's Body was not well received at the time when it came out, and then has kind of had like a renaissance in the last decade.
Yeah.
I read a quote from Marlon Wayans, I think on his Instagram, about the reception that him was getting. And he was kind of like, all my movies are cult classics. Like people
Mm.
don't appreciate
Yes.
the movies I make when they come out. And he's like, I'll see you guys in 10 years. Like,
Yeah.
this movie is so good and you guys don't get it. And
You
like,
guys don't get it yet. Yeah.
so that's kind of how I feel. I'm like,
And we might just be the leaders of the pack on this one. I
yeah.
feel like
Well, I feel like if people would just watch
I
it with
really
like
love
a
it.
bit more of like with a bit more irony, I guess.
I read this criticism or this review. I think they had an issue with the seriousness of the content and the tone. There is like a fun, campy, goofy silliness, but like we were saying, the subject matter is very sensitive. But I don't think that necessarily makes it not worth
And I
watching.
think
I actually think it's interesting that the tension there.
I think that's exactly what we're saying when we're like, you have to love it before you can hate it. Like, you have to be aware of where the tension is and why this is different before you can be like, this was just bad. Because it's
Well,
like
and I
it is playing in a weird, like, liminal in between
yeah, I would
area.
say that is what though what I personally expect from a Jordan Peele associated film. Also, like Get Out, I think was a pinnacle of the discomfort, tension, suspense, like sat exactly between the horror and the humor. Like I
Hmm.
think
No, that was I felt like that movie was a masterpiece, but do you also feel like maybe speaking of our Suspiria episode, that one had more of like this is good cinema written on it, like Get
mm,
Out, and like this one doesn't
yeah.
have anything written on it. So now it's like you're
Yeah.
responsible for your take.
You're responsible for
And
yeah,
nobody wants to
yeah.
sound stupid by being like, I thought
Ah,
it was really good. I'll do it.
maybe.
I'm a very obnoxious contrarian, so I know that that is also fueling my like, I loved it because everyone hated it. So I am very well aware of that. Me and
Yeah.
Marlon Wayans are on the same side. Okay, here we get football
And we
play.
are
We get helmet to helmet
helmet to helmet.
contact, and it
Ugh.
changes. It goes super slow-mo, changes to X-ray. It is gnarly. You see like it vibrate all down the other guy's back. It's Cam and another guy. He falls down to the ground and is kind
Mhm.
of in like what's that position where you're like seizing or like
Yeah, the arms came up, and Jaden said that is a sign of a really bad injury if you see someone laying like that and their arms kind of
yeah,
are up like that.
it's
And
not
so,
good.
yeah, the impact of Cam's helmet and this other guy's helmet put him on the ground like that. And
Hmm.
the X-ray, what it does is it removes any
Like
personalization of the
humanity. Yeah.
characters and just goes to these bodies are just bone, blood, and muscle. Like that's it.
Hmm.
And it like highlights the blood trauma on the brains during the impact. It's really effective in like
Hmm.
giving you a ugh
It's
feeling.
gross. And then here we get Cam speaking in a way that like it's a bit of like code switching. We as an audience have not heard him speak this way yet. And to me it felt I
Oh,
read it as
sure.
like a bit of like performance of boy. Which
Hmm.
again, Jennifer's body. But he says he's just knocked this guy unconscious. He's very badly injured, and he's like standing over him, like jumping up and down. And he says, "Y'all boys stop playing with me. Dead body alert!" And like draws his thumb across his throat. Cuts back to his real, like not X-ray anymore.
Yeah.
He says, I don't start shit, Zay. I just finish it. Isaiah comes over and is kind of like stone faced. Cam calms down, like comes back to himself a little bit and is looking at him. And he says, I just got lost. Isaiah looks at him and says, there he is. And gives him a big hug, like
Hmm.
a very good,
Hmm.
tight hug, and says, I'm fucking proud of you. And like, that gave me full chills. I feel like that is like such like one of the messages of this movie. Like the toxic performance to perpetuate to like get the approval of whoever, right? Like your dad or your mentor, or like it's like it's like boys performing this boyness for other
Yeah.
boys, and like that perpetuating that like harmfulness that we were talking about earlier. It's such a good hug. It's so sad. Um, they're all
Yeah.
standing, this group is all standing over this guy's body. They're like chanting the like Savior's hype up
Yeah,
song, which
so
is like, all Saviors say amen. And they're just like dancing, and the guy is in the middle of the circle, just still not doing good.
yeah.
And Cam's really into it. He's like singing this chant along with them and seems okay now that Isaiah has told him he's proud of him. And then we get our big Suspiria moment. He's wandering the halls at
Mhm.
night. A football like rolls out from behind a corner. And he's like kind of looking around, like what's going on. We see a door looking out at him through a dark doorway, and somebody like walk across. We're like very on
Mhm.
edge. And then all of a sudden, like paparazzi starts going off. It's like people with cameras. Again, you're like, is this real or not? The goat mascot, the ombre goat, is behind him, puts a plastic bag over his head.
Mhm.
He's suffocating. He like rips through it, and then he's by himself.
Yeah.
Not real.
Yeah.
Um,
Again, this is why I'm like the mascots are the haunting gothic element that
mhm,
the things that he's fears, the anxieties he's has like get embodied by them. That's
mhm.
what.
And they look so cool.
Okay.
He calls home. He's talking to his brother. It's his mom's birthday. He forgot.
And
And
we should probably say too, it's like the reason he calls home on a landline because early on he got his phone taken away as like
no
part of
distractions.
the training. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's
Um,
secretly making a phone call home.
and then Marco walks in, is like, get off the phone. You're not supposed to be on there. Kind of has a weird conversation with Marco where he's like, he says, never kill yourself for a job. I kill myself for this job. It's like, is he drunk? I don't know. Marco doesn't seem very
Hmm.
happy. Before he leaves, he says, it's a shame you're so talented and how well I've prepared you. And Cam goes, prepared me for what? And he says,
Yeah.
when two men enter the Coliseum, only one leaves, and then walks out.
Foreshadowing.
Shadowing. Then we're in a
Yay.
very pretty sauna with some
Yes.
glass blocks that I would die for. He has a really long conversation with Isaiah. I feel like this is like the realest Isaiah is. He does mention that he never had a family before football and that the only thing consistent in his life has been football. And then Isaiah says to Cam, you're a good dude. Do me a favor. Find your own way to greatness. Don't be me. Do better.
Yeah.
And Cam says, what do you mean? And Isaiah says, you're starving to death in a prison and somebody asks you, food or freedom? Do you really have a choice? And I feel like that's something I didn't really clock on the first watch. And then on the second watch, I feel like that to me read as like Isaiah didn't really have a choice in this, because he like didn't have a family and like didn't have, he was like alone already. And I feel like so much of what's grounding Cam is like his family and his girlfriend.
Yeah, I think that's like the key element in this is the difference between them is like
Mhm.
and Zay says it before too, like for him it's football first, then family, then God. And then Cam on the other side keeps going back like it's all about family.
Mhm.
That's what it's all about is family. He can't wait to be a dad, can't wait to have like this family. Like
Mhm.
that is like more important to him.
Yeah.
Anyway. Hmm.
So then, oh, we have a little Ozzy. Isaiah leaves him alone. And then this was to me the second scariest
Mhm.
part. Ozzy.
Oh. Well, hello, girly.
Oh, she wants to be famous. Um, we have again similar to the other scary part where it's like I feel like things moving in darkness where I'm not sure what they are or what
Yeah.
is happening is
Yeah.
maybe the scariest thing to me. So we get another he's Cam lays down on the bench in the sauna, and then we see under the bench something moving. And then we get a leg kind of come out like a spider. And it is Marjorie under the bench. She comes out just silent, goes over to the like rock steam pile and picks up a rock and goes over to him. Her makeup is like, she
Yeah.
looks like a monster.
How long has she been in there hiding in the sauna underneath the bench? We don't know.
We don't know. Um,
Overheating, sweating. And
yeah, that's
she,
probably why her makeup was
yeah,
red.
that's, I mean, she's been in the sauna for who knows how long. And
Um,
Cam has like laid down now on the bench. And then the shot goes to above him, and you see her step in with a rock. And she's gonna smash his head in. But he wakes up just in time
uh-huh.
and like kind of overpowers
I
her,
think just
throws her
grabs her by the
down.
neck.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, he's like what, 6'5",
Yeah.
210. We know his biostats. And then
We-
she is tiny, and he like, yeah, picks her up, overpowers her by the neck, throws her down on the bench and starts choking her. And I think he believes he may have killed her
Mhm,
or at least made her go
mhm.
unconscious. And he's starting to leave the sauna. She gets up, goes to like attack him from behind, and he's walking out. And then Zay gets in right at the right moment. And must have a knife or something,
Mhm.
stabs her. She like hits a moment of like ecstasy, I feel
Mhm.
like. And she like leans in towards him and like leans out her tongue and her mouth towards him. And he is kind of just delighted by this and goes in
Yeah,
and
he
kisses
kisses her.
her.
Oh, yeah, he kisses her for a sec.
And then
It's disgusting.
it's this weird moment with between him and his fan, and then he throws her against the back wall of the sauna. And
Hmm.
again, we get a bloody thunk,
Hmm.
and I think she's truly dead.
Yes.
And we see like her, she also has like some other like fans that
I think
have,
they're like her kids, maybe. I think they call her
yeah.
mom. The door closes. It's glass. We can still see them, but it's muffled. Zay goes, "Oh shit, did you see that?" He's kind of like amped up. He says, "When you're a god, there is no peace. Did you see that shit? The fucking dedication." And then he goes into this kind of like weird state and he says, "He died for us, so I play for him." Which I feel like there's different ways to read into that. Because knowing the end, I feel like it's like, is it
Yeah.
like the original guy?
Yeah.
And then he says, "You go, I'll stay and clean up this mess. I
Yep.
owe it to the fans."
Yep.
Um, so then we cut to Elsie, Julia Fox saying, "Sorry it got so crazy." I can see how for a normal person this would be like off-putting. Says, "Do you want to come out to the pool with me and the girls? We're just gonna hang out." We get this like sexy montage of him hanging out. There's girls in bikinis dancing. It's like very alluring. And then over that, we have another voicemail from his mom, which I feel like is kind of like the guiding light in the darkness a little
Yeah.
bit. It's like she's still there. She says, "I hope everything's going well and you're taking good care of yourself. You're your own man now." Next morning, Cam wakes up with Zay in his room holding a gun at him, saying, "Did you fuck my wife?" He says, "No, I have a girlfriend." Zay kind of makes fun of him for this. He's like, "You're so like, oh, like you going steady with your girlfriend." And he's like, "You can't even like handle the idea of hurting your girl's feelings.
Mm-hmm.
There ain't a chance in hell you can be the face of this franchise. Like,
Yeah.
you real killers don't give a fuck." Um,
Yeah.
there is a really funny part where he says, after he's like, "No, I didn't." And he's like, "I believe you. I'm just messing with you." And then he says, "Sorry, sometimes I can just be a little intense." Like, I
Yeah.
really liked the way that he said that.
He does a few of that. Like that's what's so unsettling about him. He'll go like
Mhm.
he will be
Like
like
holding
super
a
intense.
gun still.
Yeah.
So then he says, "Let's just kick it like bros today." Day
Yeah.
4, resilience. They're at a shooting range. They're in their cute little like cosplay hunting outfits, which I found cute.
Yeah.
Cam says, "God, I can't stop thinking about that lady I almost killed last night." And Zay's like, "What?" And I don't know. I feel like in that moment, I was like, like, what is real? What is happening? Um, they're just shooting at some targets out a ways, and then some people come by and like drag out another target, which is in that conquistador mascot outfit we
Hmm.
mentioned earlier. This is a real person, right? This
So
feels like a
I
real
know
body.
It looks like a real body like slumped over.
Hmm.
And I saw a video there's an extended scene
Ooh, like
here.
scene?
Yeah, because I feel like it feels a little, which I think actually adds to it because this feels a little inconclusive how this ends. But basically, the scene we saw is, yeah, this mascot sitting there, and it kind of does look like there's a body in there. So m
Hmm.
when I saw it, I was like, maybe that's the woman from last night, like
Oh,
the
uh-huh.
fan from last night stuffed in there. Because Zay goes, "What woman are you talking about earlier?" And then they set up the final mascot, and he goes, "Oh yeah,
Oh yeah,
that
that
woman."
woman. Yes,
So
you're
that's what
right.
that was my read on the situation watching it how we did. It's Cam's turn to shoot, and so Zay goes, like makes a wager. He goes, if you hit it, I will give you everything, the cars, the money, the girls, whatever you want. But if you miss, I take away your youth. And then I think Cam turns on his like competitive energy. He's like starting to come into himself and
Hmm.
goes, "Nah, like I don't take handouts. How about if I miss, I might just let you keep QB next season." And that
Zay does
pisses
not like
Isaiah
that.
off. Yeah. It's not so much mentor student, it's starting
Hmm.
to turn into a rivalry. But the extended cut then takes it further. Oh, so then he shoots and hits the mascot. And I
Hmm.
think that's where the scene ends in the
Hmm.
movie. But in the extended cut, Cam goes over to that mascot and I guess he takes off the head and it's him inside the mascot. And so it's like the two of them
Hmm.
staring, two of him, like body doubles
Yeah.
staring at each other. And it's like, I think he starts laughing or he like just like it's like a weird, not real, surreal
Yeah.
situation. And so I think that changes the way I read it the
Yeah,
first time.
for sure. I feel like, I mean, I would say I feel like they made the right choice cutting that out because I feel like it's more fun to have
Not
questions about
have
it.
questions. Sure, yeah. I think you're right. Yeah, I don't know.
Um,
It does,
and
yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
hearing your take, I'm like, of course, like, of course it's Marjorie. How would you not think that?
I mean, I don't know. That's what I think. The next scene is an interview scene, and we get Tierra Whack coming in, and I think she's gonna be like hosting an interview or something like that.
Hmm. With a
We
Tierra
just have like
Wax
a
song over the
and a
top of
Tierra
it,
Whack song starts playing. I
which
love
is
her.
so
I
great.
knew it was her from the
I
beginning
love
because
her.
or from her like the moment she was on because I feel like her voice is so
Her
distinct.
voice,
But
yeah, she's so great. That song is so great too. I feel like it has a good, it like interpolates the like score, the like creepy little harp throughout. It's really
yeah.
fun. This is also day five Vision.
Oh.
He's like, "Are we not doing training today?" And Zay is like, "This is training, so this is like media training, presumably."
Hmm.
This is where we get Cam kind of opening up a little bit about his dad. He tells a story about him. He was like, I remember the last time we spoke, I told him I didn't want to play anymore. He said he was disappointed in me. And then a month later, he died. He says, as long as I was playing, it wasn't real. And during this part, he repeats himself a couple times in a very weird way.
Hmm.
Did you notice that?
I didn't notice that.
For example, he says, I feel like he died for us, so I continue playing for him. And then he like repeats that like two other times, like
Hmm.
in succession. So yeah, I feel like he died for us. We get that theme again, so I continue playing for him. This is where we get the real overt, heavy-handed still of the Last Supper, which I think everybody got so mad about. I paused here. I didn't recognize anyone in this frame besides Cam, which
I
I don't. I'm
didn't
like,
look at
who
it in
who are
detail.
these people? But they're doing like Last Supper. He is Jesus. It's we've seen it a million times.
Yeah.
I thought it was cool.
I thought it was cool too.
Um, Here he's having a conversation. He's in like a tuxedo and bench pressing, which they're still like
Yeah.
on set.
My
Uh,
take here is, yeah, he starts just getting serious now. Like, I feel
mhm,
like he starts just being like, okay, fine, like, this is insane, so I'm just gonna,
just
I'm
as
in it
serious.
now. Yeah.
Elsie walks over. She is in a crazy long sleeve body hugging dress that is covered in mirrors, and has like a wet look
Yep.
with her hair. And again, I feel like we have like a really nice conversation between the two. I feel like she is tricking me, like exactly how she's trying to trick people. I feel like I would fall under her spell so easy.
Mm-hmm.
Um, she says, you know, this is a huge sacrifice and it's not really worth it if your heart's not in it. So are you really sure you want to do this? So he's had several outs, I feel like at this point. She invites him to a party. She says, you're basically in, but you need to come to this party tonight to like, you know, get to know the owners, get to know the people on on the team, shake some hands, show them who you are, show them you fit
Yeah.
in, and then it's like basically a done deal. Isaiah will not be going. He is going to stay home and watch some tape,
Mhm.
which he does often. Um, so they're gonna go to a party. It's like at a very weird location. She's like, I know it sounds weird. Blah, blah, blah. She says, be cute, be yourself, and remember you're doing this for the culture. Which I feel like
Yeah.
again is like a very loaded line that can be taken a couple different ways.
Mm-hmm.
And they show up to this very seedy hotel, and she knows the owner. She's like, hey, Deb, or whatever her name is.
Yeah.
Like, she's like, be nice to her son. He's this pudgy little kid walking around, but all this will be his someday. Like, nepotism
Yeah.
works every time. Blah, blah, blah. They like to
She has
have their
so
parents
many
here
good.
so that nobody's asking questions. And that at this point, I'm like, what is this? Like, I'm thinking they're gonna like kill him or something. I was not expecting a
Mm-hmm.
party, but they walk into this room and there's this huge party. It's like a nightclub. Marco's here, gives him a hug, tells him to run in his ear,
Yeah.
and he kind of
And
does like
then
a what?
he does, yeah, he whispers, run. Cam doesn't know what to do with that, starts walking away confusedly. But we see Marco do his little shrug, just like that
hmm
emoji, and towards Elsie. Elsie
And Elsie
clocks
gives
it.
him a look. She's like,
Mm.
he sits at a table with his agent and a bunch of old white dudes. One of them was wearing a big fur coat. These are presumably the owners.
Mm-hmm.
They're talking. His agent's like, all right, are you in? Blah, blah, blah. And he's like, kind of apprehensive. And then they hand him a chalice of
A
spooky liquid,
chalice,
just like in Suspiria.
that red
Uh,
liquid, we don't know.
and he's like, yeah, I'm in. They all cheer. He takes a drink. As soon as he takes a drink, we cut to Isaiah's eyes popping open. He was asleep. He is now awake. He hops
Yep.
up. He starts like pumping iron.
Yep.
Um, Things start getting very weird here. It's like Twin Peaks a little bit. It's like
Yeah.
nightmare party.
Nightmare party for sure.
Someone is putting like chains on him, like diamond necklaces and chains. It's like swirling and getting weird. Now he's on the floor and he's like puking up the red liquid as well as chains and diamond necklaces that are
Yeah.
like coming out of his mouth. He walks into like a tented area of the room, with like draperies. And is there something else on the table or is it just the head?
Maybe it's the goat mascot head, or like
Yes,
there's
you're
a
right.
horn. Yeah.
I think it's
I
the horned fanatic mascot
mm-hmm.
head.
Yeah.
And it's Marco's head
And
cut off.
we yeah, and did you say before interspersed with like
Oh, no, I didn't.
these scenes of Cam kind of in this disassociative partying mode is Elsie stabbing. So it keeps like repeated images
hmm
of her stabbing something. And then,
hmm
yeah, he goes, lifts the head, and it's Marco's head
Cut off.
beheaded from his body, just sitting
Beheaded.
there on the table.
And I feel like this is like third act. Um, I feel like this is where we get into like perhaps a more literal interpretation of like what this has been leading up to.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like this is where people seemed to like it seemed to lose people. They're like the third
Yeah.
act fell off, like it lost it in the third act. So maybe it's that it like started out with a more like is this spooky? And then like in the third act was like, yes, it is spooky and satanic.
Hmm.
But again, it's like I feel like that's like Suspiria is the same. It's like, yeah, it is. It's witches. It actually is witches.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I thought it was fun, but maybe people were like, well, it seemed like it was going to be a satanic cult, so then it's lame that it actually was, which I get that too. So then we get to day 6, sacrifice. He wakes up, he's like on a table, right? Like an
Yeah,
operating
I think
table,
he's
kind of.
in the ice bath. He's in the ice bath room, but I don't know. I thought he was in there
I
or on
feel
the
like
table
he's
or something.
on, in this scene, I feel like he's on like an operating table and he's in like football pants
Uh,
and no shirt and has like a blood bag, like he's getting a blood
yes, he's
transfusion.
definitely, yeah, he's getting the transfusion.
So he wakes up and is like, what is going on?
Hmm.
Looks over and sees on the desk the little shrug syringe, which has been what is being used to like get him feeling better, right?
Yeah,
So I
that's
that was
his
my understanding
performance.
is he's like, I need that to like get up and get out of here.
Yeah, that's his like performance enhancement, but like
Hmm.
he's come to rely on it. Yeah,
Hmm.
because
So
he
he gets up, he's
crawls
trying to get
out. Yeah, he's basically it's like his legs aren't working for some reason. He
uh-huh.
rips out the IV and like crawls himself over, grabs the syringe, serum, stabs it into him,
And then
and then
he walks out. I feel like he grabs maybe like a trophy or something on his
mhm,
way out and is carrying it down the hall. He hears like a crowd cheering, so he's following that sound, walks into a room. We have like a conversation pit, a circular conversation pit with Isaiah like laying in the bottom of it, looking up. And on the ceiling is like a screen. This is him like watching tape. It's
yep.
like a circular screen above it that kind of looks like an eyeball.
Mhm.
And it's like a crowd, like a fisheye crowd around the outside, and then it's like
Yeah.
black in the middle, like an eyeball kind of.
Yeah. So it's really great at setting up our gladiator coliseum. It's
Mhm.
like really awesome.
Cam just like goes at him with this statue, the
Oh, right.
trophy, and like Isaiah like evades it. But I'm like, that was kind of crazy. We couldn't do that without like saying anything to him. Like he wasn't even at the party last night. Um, but he tries to get him.
I think
He
he's
gets
upset
up.
about the IV or something
Yeah,
too.
I mean, he should
Like,
be upset about a couple of things. But Isaiah pops up. They're kind of like opposite each other, and then a big door like slides shut in that room.
yeah.
It has like a weird symbol on it. Um, and he says, "Where are you going? I thought you were willing to sacrifice everything." Cam says, "You've been giving me your blood on some weird white people shit." And Isaiah says, "I knew you wouldn't want to fuck with it." We learn there's like old vintage football uniform forms around the
Jerseys, yeah.
perimeter of the room.
Hmm.
We learn that this blood that he's been blood doping with is like passed down from his mentor and his mentor before
Yes.
him. And whoever has the blood is the one to bring salvation to the people. Whoever has it is the goat.
Yeah.
And now we're on. They're fighting.
Yeah, because there he realizes, okay, so now we both have the blood, so it's a fair chance now.
It's a
Only
fair chance. And now who there's two men, it's two gladiators.
Zay says one man wants to walk out of the tunnel and the other one wants to stop him. So yeah, they go at it, they start
Let's
fighting.
dance.
They go into like
Which I was telling
escape
Ryan last
mode.
night. I was like, how crazy to just start fighting someone from nothing. Like Cam
Yeah.
just like punches him
Yeah.
and like to just be like, all right, here we go. I would die. I would
You're
be
never in
killed so
a
quickly.
you're never in a schoolyard tussle.
A tussle. I've never been in a tussle.
Me neither.
Um, but
I
they're
don't know
doing,
what
I
it's
feel like
like.
Cam's doing pretty good.
Doing pretty good, but then Zay kind of dominates him, throws him on the ground, and pulls his arm like back the wrong way till we
His
hear it break.
his throwing arm, his QB arm.
Yeah, very terrible. We have the X-ray shots too, so you see like when they're pushing on each other's like
Oh
heads and
yeah.
bodies, like where the pressure points are, where the
Mhm.
blood's starting to pool. After he breaks his arm, Cam gets up and grabs a helmet and goes, "You know what's the opposite of a savior?" And Zay goes, "A killer." And then Cam says, wrong. Hits him with a helmet, a mascot. And then, like, keeps hitting him and
Walloping.
hitting him. Music's swelling. And it's just like, he just, like, has so much anger and keeps hitting him and punching him until we assume he's dead. So we're now, I guess the read here for me was that he's now saying you're no longer the goat. You're just like every other mascot. You're obscurity. You're out on the outskirts now, and I'm walking into the stadium.
Into the
And then
light.
we see him like walking through the tunnel, kind of limping.
This part is so camp. It's so football camp. It's so pretty. It was like dazzling. It's so dazzling.
Yes, this is dazzling, bright, and I feel like this is like many of the shots of the trailer are in this scene. It feels like that's, I don't know if that's true, but like the essence of the trailer to me was like
Totally.
this scene. Yeah.
I have a lot of symbolism in here.
Yes.
He walks out, he's got his little crooked arm. Now he's just like holding it. He's shirtless, covered in blood. The sky is like bright cartoon blue. We have like, I think, smoke machine going off, and then like sparklers, like huge sparklers shooting sparks up into the sky. He's walking into like a coliseum, kind of. It's like circular again, just like a low concrete
It's kind of
wall.
or it's like translucent white, kind of like almost like the walls in the tunnel are almost like blown up.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Like air
Yeah.
filled.
It's like a shape of like an animal that, yeah,
I,
looks like
is it a
balloon
goat or something that he
Yeah,
like as the
probably.
tunnel, like, yeah, some horned probably goat, I'm
Yeah.
assuming.
We have a marching band around the perimeter. They're all wearing like black cloth masks over their faces. And then we have cheerleaders like lining. He's walking through the middle of them. They are all white and have blonde wigs that match and have like tan, like light tan mesh face masks over their faces, which read into that what you will.
I actually didn't pay attention to the cheerleader outfit details. That's great.
They also have like little tinsel. It's very, oh God. And everything is like red, white, and blue. Like everything is, and the red is like so vibrant. Out in the middle of this field, a table that has Julia Fox sitting at it with like slick back hair. She now has like a wet, like pixie cut. Yes. I feel like her hair is different. She's in a crazy dress
Yes.
that has like saber tooth knives coming out the
Yes.
top of it.
Yeah.
It's insane. Looks
I
like a
love
Power
it.
Rangers villain.
Yeah.
And then behind her is like a long banquet table with a bunch of guys sitting with like pig masks on, like pig skin masks. And then the one in the middle is different, but what was that?
I don't
The
know.
guy
It
in
was
the
more of
middle
like
is
a
maybe
metal.
wearing like the goat mask or something.
Yeah. But the rest of
Um,
them are pigs.
yeah. So the chant, which I was like, what are
Yeah,
these
did
words? I
you
like
look that
typed
up?
them. Yeah, I typed them out and was like, what is this? This is who knew the Star Spangled Banner had verses? Not me. This is the third verse of the Star Spangled
I love
Banner,
it.
which
Ooh.
was written by Francis Scott Key after the Battle of Fort McHenry in Baltimore during the War of 1812, which I also didn't know. I'm sure I learned that in like third grade or something. So the British in that war were recruiting American enslaved people, and they were like, if we win, like we won't give you back. Like you'll be good. Like we'll take care of you. So a lot of like American enslaved people were fighting for the British. And Francis Scott Key was a slave owner and was really pissed off about this. And this is like a longer verse, but the part that they are saying when he walks out is, and where is that band who so vauntingly swore that the havoc of war and the battle's confusion, a home and a country should leave us no more? Their blood has washed out their foul footsteps pollution. No refuge could save the hireling and slave from the terror of flight or the gloom of the grave. And the Star-Spangled Banner in triumph doth wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave. So he's
Hmm.
essentially like, you guys are dead, is like that verse. Like, which is so weird, like to say in the same sentence, like, enslaved people, like, you're gonna get what's coming to you, and also like the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And I feel like that's what we're talking about, like this
But
weird
that's
history.
the cognitive dissonance of American history, I think, or
Right.
how we like to interpret it.
So he walks out there. Julia Fox is like, here you go, hands him a pen. It's like, sign it.
And there's the little
A little
sticky note with the
tab,
arrowhead.
sign here.
I loved that. That
It
made me
was
really
so
laugh.
cute.
'Cause
And he's like, just like staring. And she like turns around and looks at his agent and is like, Tom, what the hell? Like, thought he's ready. And he's like, give me a second, like takes his pig head off and is like, Cam, come on. Like, we worked so
yeah,
hard for this. And this is where we get like a little bit of exposition, but it's like, I feel like it comes in flashes. And this is some stuff that I missed on the first watch too. He says, your dad sacrificed everything for you. And then we see a picture of his dad shaking hands with the owner of the Saviors.
yeah.
And he
So I think
says, this is something I missed, is like Cam starts laughing as he like realizes what's happening. And Tom says, we attacked you to isolate you, to draft you, which I totally missed the first time. So like, I feel like that's
mm,
acknowledging that like whoever hit him at the head was from the beginning was like a human person in a
yeah,
costume that they were like, okay, like we'll injure him so that he like doubts himself and isolates himself from his friends and his family. Like, so he was kind of like, they do say, like, you were groomed for this for like
yeah,
your whole life. Um, he starts laughing. He picks up the pickaxe we saw earlier. Julie Fox is like, what's happening? Everybody starts going like, oh, 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 oh. The mascot, does he say something here? I just have the mascot that attacked him, which is the horned fanatic, is behind him again, and he like just turns around and gets him, right?
yeah, yeah. I think to me, I missed the part where it's like the montage or like showing clips of his dad shaking hands with it. But I did remember Tom like kind of like laying out the exposition, which I didn't love. I felt like it
I
was a
didn't love
little
that either.
like I actually don't think it is a good if I were Tom and you're at this like really critical point of convincing him. I don't think like telling him we groomed you, we
Right,
made you
you're a
into
pawn.
this. I think like that's like implied already. So I feel like he
Mhm.
should stick with the like what because what they've been saying the whole time is what would your dad think? What would your dad think? And I think that
Mhm.
was like the main. But I think it hits home in that moment, showing that clip of his dad shaking hands, like kind of like basically like handing over his son to the league.
Yeah.
It
Well, and
like
also like
this
sacrificing himself,
sacrificing
presumably.
himself. Yeah, like maybe that was like he sacrificed himself so that his son could get in the league.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Which again,
like
like then that speaks to like weird masculinity, like
mhm,
these like again, these dads coming home from like the Civil War and like I gave up all this for you, like
yeah.
and then the kid being like, I never asked you to. Like, no, dad, this is your dream.
But then they like right before so he's like picks up the pickaxe, there's the guy coming behind him, and then the main owner just immediately like goes, I'll kill your family. Like basically threatens to ruin the thing that he loves most.
Hmm.
Cam loves most and the only thing he's living for. And then he's just like, no. And I feel like he starts just being like,
Yeah.
fuck
Yeah,
your
he does do
eyebrows.
that, which reminded me of that Britney Spears music video. Do you know the one I'm talking about? Where she's like,
I should.
Is it I Want to Go? It's like she's at a press conference and everyone's like yelling at her and like, Bernie,
Oh
Bernie.
yeah.
And she's like, okay, stop. And she's like, fuck you, you're
Yeah.
cool, fuck you. It's like
Yes,
the
yes, yes,
exact
yes.
same.
It's that
But
energy.
he smashes the fanatic and then takes the mask off, and it's the big guy with the glasses that we've seen a couple times, the
Yes.
henchman, which was fun. So he starts coming towards them with the pickaxe. Everybody's freaking out. Julie Fox is like, fine, like I'll handle it. I have to handle everything. Grabs a knife, like a
I,
butcher knife. What's this? She's like in like teetering in her heels in her little dress, which I'm like, that dress is going through her neck, is what I was
yeah.
thinking. She trips, and then we cut to her with the knife in her
Yeah.
neck. She
She
has impaled
immediately.
herself. She's like,
She's like,
and everyone's
yeah.
just like, whoa. So I think he kills everybody. He cuts
Yep.
off the owner's head.
Yep.
Um, and then we just have Tim Heidecker alive, who he
And
doesn't kill.
also, we must note that the cheerleaders and the marching band are like continuing to do
There's
their
the whole time.
ritual routine. They like
The
keep
whole
having
time.
their pom pom like
The
routine.
sparklers are going the whole time, which you can, like the symbolism. And then at some point in all this, the his mom's voicemail plays again. So like either before or during him like fighting back, it's like his mom's
Hmm.
voicemail again. It's like the lighthouse. He kills everybody except for Tim Heidecker. He's like pleading. This nasty little agent is just like in it for the money and is like the lowest man on the totem pole and is like,
Hmm.
Blaze, Blaze, like just kill me, just kill me. And he like walks away and we see him get like pulled into the center of this like pentagram in the middle of the field, like all arms outstretched. It's like magic. And he leaves and he's walking away. We can't see Tim Heidecker anymore. He's like coming back towards the tunnel. He kind of like jukes one of the, I feel like, marching band guys as he's walking, which is fun. And then we hear Tim Heidecker scream and like a puff of like blood, liquid smoke. He has exploded. And then we got this in the beginning, I don't think we mentioned, but again, we get the callback of three jets flying over the stadium, leaving a smoke trail of red, white, and blue as they fly over.
And he says, no guts, no glory, like as he's walking out.
No guts, no glory. And that's it.
That,
And I had a
that's
blast.
and that's him.
And that's him. And he is him.
My question, because I'm like, I get that, like, I feel like it's like, okay, he's breaking the chains of the system of the cycle and he's choosing to, like, not just fall in line and break out, find his own way. But my question is, like, what was actually supposed to happen? Like, why is, like, who actually goes into the pentagram? Like, who's, like,
Yeah.
I, I want the tutorial for, like,
What's the
what was
mechanics?
supposed to happen because I thought when he was like walking back into the tunnel, you see like a burst or something, and I don't know if
Uh-huh.
like that was Tim Heidecker like body like exploding or something like that. But I'm like, does he go? I mean, I don't know my witch circles very well, but it's like that's the sacrificial part, right?
Yeah.
So then is it a
Maybe if he said no, he was supposed to go in the circle. But then who's the goat?
or then or do they put the body of Isaiah in the
Isaiah?
circle? Like, what was supposed to actually happen? I'm
Yeah.
very curious about that.
The mechanics. See, it's like there are things worth criticizing, but I feel like they were not the things people were criticizing
You're
in
all
their
criticizing the
reviews.
wrong things.
Like, that's not how the NFL draft works.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
I feel like
I
that's the
agree.
only thing. It's a little heavy-handed and it gets a little muddy at the end. And what was actually supposed to happen? Those
It
are my
does
like
get,
final.
yeah, I agree with you. I wish it had been like if you're gonna leave so much up for interpretation along the way, just like leave it the whole
Yeah,
way. Don't
yeah,
like we groomed you and your father like
yeah,
we were the ones that injured you in the beginning.
yeah,
It was like so much explanation. And I
yeah.
feel like that's a big difference with Suspiria is I feel like Suspiria didn't explain anything at the end.
Yeah. Yeah. I
which
think you have to balance
was
that.
great because it was just so crazy.
Yeah. I think it's maybe a little bit like excitement at like making sure everyone
Look
sees
what we did.
Footstory.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
So,
agree.
which I feel like my take is like everyone really put heart, like this movie has a lot of heart and I feel like a
Hmm.
lot of passion in it, which I said
Hmm.
the same thing about Suspiria. And I think there was so much care in crafting this movie that you can see. And so I just really appreciate all of
Hmm.
that. And I appreciate the design that went into it, all the artists involved. I think it's a beautiful movie and it was so much
Yeah,
fun.
so pretty and so much fun to watch. I feel like especially like the first two acts are just like dazzling. It was, yeah, like I feel like I felt similar to how it felt to watch like Lemonade for the first time. Like I was just like, oh,
Totally.
oh my God, like, this is
Yeah.
a
This
feast for the
Technicolor
senses.
dreamboat.
Yeah, I am fed is a good way to put it.
So that was the movie Him. But I just have one more question for you, Katie. What about Bob's?
I'm so glad you asked. If I have one major criticism about this movie, it's that bob hairstyles are severely underrepresented. There is not a bob in sight. But in terms of style, hairstyles that we know and love throughout history, we do have some really honorable mention layers present in this film, some layers that cannot be denied. And that is the tinsel layers of Tinsel Larry, the Savior's mascot. These layers are fringy, they're shiny. These costumes are insane. I read a article interviewing the costume designer Dominique Dawson. They said that they were just working with the name Saviors and wanted to create something fresh and new that hadn't been seen in a football team before in terms of color. So they chose this palette of rose gold and oxblood, which I feel like is so killer in this movie. A lot of times we get blood mixing with the blood of uniforms. It looks super, super cool. For the Tinselary in particular, they tapped Native American interdisciplinary artist Canupa Hanska Luger, who is based in New Mexico. He crafted this costume from hand. It's so amazing. It's these fringy layers, again, of rose gold and oxblood, topped with a cowboy hat. We have some fringy gloves and I believe cowboy boots. And of that design, he said, for generations, mascots have distorted and commodified indigenous identities, turning living cultures into caricatures for the comfort of others. To build one knowingly within the language of horror cinema became an act of reclamation, an inversion of the symbol. What was once used to erase us becomes a vessel to expose that erasure. The horror looks back, which I feel like was just like so amazing to watch move throughout this movie as well. We mentioned earlier on the symbolism of these mascots, and they are just the most visually striking as well. So even though we don't have a bob, if we can't have a bob, we'll take some rose gold and oxblood layers because that design was incredible. I feel
Yeah,
like that was like stole the show.
we'll take it. It was really show-stopping.
Take it.
I
We'll
love
take it.
it.
Perhaps a
Love
tinsel
it.
wig could be nice,
Oh my gosh.
if only.
If only. Mm, Tinsel
So
wig would have been great.
that wraps up him. That is
That's
part
it.
two in this triple feature, but we have part three on the way. What's coming up next?
Next is Maxine, 2024 movie featuring Mia Goth. It is the third installment of the X trilogy, and neither of us have seen it, right?
I've never seen any of those movies. I'm very, very excited. And sure
Ooh,
to be some
so
good
fun.
hair, right?
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure.
We're due for a bob. We're
We're
due
due for
for
a
a
bob.
traditional bob.
We have not been lucky, as the saying goes.
We have not been lucky. No bobs on top, but we'll
No
get
bobs
there.
on top.
We'll figure it
But
out.
yeah, hoping we'll have a bob, but either way, I think it's going to be a good time.
Either way, we'll have a blast.
Yeah.
Even
Okay,
if we don't have
so
Bob.
think about what the theme might be, all you guys. We have one cooking, and yeah, we'll see you
We'll
next
see you
time.
next time.
Bye.
Bye. 3, 2, 1, bye.